First ever live stream. I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just stand here and chat, and hopefully people ask some questions.
As long as we're in fact live, yeah, it'll be.
So just make sure the you see on your phone there.
Oh, I think it's starting to. Hey, okay.
Might have to turn that to.
I guess we'll just stand.
Oh, it's on a delay.
Ah, the
For
delay.
safety. Okay.
Yes, yes. Wonderful. All right. Well, you might as well.
It's working.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. 10,000 subscriber live stream.
Yeah, quite exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah, we figured out our technical difficulties. And,
Yeah, we got that sorted out. We got our microphones sorted out. The camera's placed. Hopefully everybody can see okay and hear okay.
Yeah. Bubble lights bubbling.
Bubble lights are bubbling.
Yeah.
Christmas lights are Christmasing. Hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas and got together with family and friends and feasted and exchanged gifts and all
Took
that
a little
good stuff.
time off and yeah.
A few car parts under the tree maybe, eh?
Oh, hopefully, yeah.
So that's always nice this time of year.
Yeah.
So it's strange because usually when we do this live thing, we have a task.
Yes, a task at hand, but
So I guess
no real agenda today. Just
no agenda. Yeah.
maybe tell you a bit about ourselves, the shop.
Yeah,
answer any questions you might have about ourselves or the shop or
yeah, or anything like that.
Yeah, anything there. Yeah.
Basically, this is a job that we do. Not so much the YouTube, but the restoration part of it is the full-time job.
Yeah.
So this is how we survive.
Yeah, yeah.
Some days we thrive.
And some days not so much, but
it's
no
good.
pressure, no diamonds.
That's it. That's what they say.
Yeah.
We've got our coffee cups filled. Hopefully you're enjoying something too.
Yeah, some coffee on the go.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
A little too strong, eh?
Yeah, it's strong. Oh, I guess I could explain that real quick. Strong's Garage and why it's called Strong's Garage. This building was originally owned by the Strong family, and they had their business in here. And I believe all the older folks in town, when I got this place about 10 years ago, called it Strong's Garage all the time.
Yeah, they were a pretty prominent family in the town here.
Yeah, and it was a hardware store and a dealership and a tractor dealer and many other things the building was. And there was another lot beside us where there's a bank now that used to be part of there used to be a gas station. And then in what year did that guy die? 1970.
70, yeah.
I'd have to get all my stories together, but the one son of the original Strong, and another Strong that was part of this is Billy Strong. There's the whole family. Billy Strong was a stock car racer in the Edmonton area and was pretty prominent. And so that kind of ties into what we do a little bit. But just getting to the name, we were toying with different names, and that stuck. So from after 1970,
trying to figure out for so long,
right,
bouncing all these names, looking at this, something exists, and
and it didn't yet.
No.
Well, it's funny when we registered our company, the Strongs, what was it called? Strongs. Anyway, it was still in the registry.
Strong and Sons.
Yeah, Strong and Sons. Yeah. Strong and Sons. There we go. And it was still in the registry from the early 1940s. No, 1940.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, and then in 1970, this building was sold to a fella named Lawfulman, who ran a garage out of here for many years, Lawfulman's Garage.
Yeah.
And then in town, there was also a Chev dealer called Risky's Garage that opened in 1932, almost identical building. They sold Chevrolet cars. This guy apprenticed there, and then he came here and started his own garage. And some of the shelves we have behind us are from that dealership from 1932.
Yeah, Risky Garage.
Yeah, those green ones. And so that's part of the thing. And moving forward, it was storage, and then it was vacant, and then people tried to run it, and another fellow had a mechanics garage in here, but he passed away. And then another younger guy got it, but something happened with him, and he couldn't make it go. But the building was pretty derelict for 30 years. Probably.
Oh, yeah, it was in
fact, those green shelves, it's funny, when me and Cassie came here one night, there used to be a parts room kind of in the back, and we moved the shelves out of the way because they were kind of in the corner of the building. And when we moved the shelves away, we moved the building away. You could see right outside.
Oh, man, yeah.
So that was disheartening, and that was kind of the beginning of the long process of restoration, because I never set out to do this much work to the building, but it was so rough that we had to just, it's like a car, when you get started on it and you get so far into it, you got to finish it. And
yeah,
it's been a saga, but it's worthwhile now because I think we've preserved something for the future.
Oh, yeah, and it's labor of love, and a lot of it is what 10 years ago or so. Your
Yeah,
dad
about
and
10
you
years
started,
ago. Yeah,
and everybody else working, and
yeah, it
I
was.
joined in helping in
Yeah, Jim
probably
helped
3
a
or
lot.
4 years
Yeah,
ago, and
and so the beginning there was people like a friend named Raz, a guy named Mark, Dave Ryan, a good friend. He was in the very beginning involved, and I have kind of been one of my mentors for the restoration stuff, the sheet metal work. And then we do a lot of mechanical work on the channel because it seems to fit the YouTube format the best. But we do pretty much all aspects of the
oh yeah, kind of
restoration.
have project lives, so to speak, whereas
Yeah,
everything is just kind of you get it,
yeah,
it's too good to throw out, but needs a little work, and
yeah,
build it up and use it.
and yeah. So everything in the shop basically was created from what either was here, the romanticized version of what it could have been, and what we thought it should be
Yeah,
to work for us. So that's kind of how the shop came to be. A lot of this stuff was by happenstance too. Like this counter that we stand in front of, it was in the building right away. Day one, we saw it, and it was painted this blue, this really
like a Ford engine
actually
blue.
this like a yeah like a still some. But my wife Cassie sanded it all down and painstakingly kind of. We left some of the character to it, but she finished it all to this beautiful counter, and it was always here. So this counter, I like to think, was always the front counter here, probably.
Yeah.
And these shelves came from Curiosity Incorporated. A friend Alex, he had these that he salvaged, and then when he closed his store, we lucked into them, so that was lucky.
Oh yeah, that was very yeah.
And
They
then
just
a whole lifetime of collecting old stuff that just kind of before this building was ever a thing. When I worked for restoration shops or worked for other places, you're just always picking up old things. If that's what you like, you're always looking for it. You know, same as
yeah.
Jim. He's good. So you're always, and then when you find something that fits the bill, like an old cash register or something, like, well, that don't do no good on the kitchen table, but it
No,
sure
no. What do
fits
you do with
here,
that
right?
at home, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it works. Another bell you don't hear too often around here, but, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna check with Cassie here. Is anybody asking questions, dear? Really?
Wow.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Where's a little yeah.
No, we're not related.
Yeah.
Jim is just a friend. I met him actually through Scott at Cold War Motors.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how everybody's kind of all
Yeah.
intertwined through
And those are
before
who-
YouTube. It
yeah.
was we were all friends before that. So.
And before you, if you're familiar with Scott's channel, Cold War Motors, Scott, I grew up about a half a mile from Scott. Like I grew up there my whole life, and Scott bought that place in I think 2000, in the early 2000s, and that's when I met Scott, and he was just kind of, I don't remember how it came to be. My dad's car. My dad was looking for somebody to paint it, and then you hear about car people in the community because our county that we live in is pretty car heavy.
Oh, there's quite a few cars, yeah.
Anyway, so I met Scott, and then we used to jam on whatever night, and then he told me about this guy, Jim. And if Jim walked in from then, now I would never recognize him.
Yeah, no, I was yeah, a little furrier back then,
Yeah,
but
you have I remember
Yeah.
seeing Jim though. My very first car ever was a '53 Monarch, which is like a Mercury, Canadian version. That's what I drove to high school and stuff. And these people are all. It's funny you meet people that like you see. So I used to see Jim driving
I had a '62 Ford Fairlane that was
but
flat
there was
black.
a BMW that had a number painted on the
Oh
side.
yeah, I had an '83 BMW 320i as a winter car that
Yeah.
I had painted like a big gumball with a number 7 on it, and I was just kind of, it was a 5-speed, just a little rear-wheel
Yeah.
drive car to be a
But I remember
winter
seeing that
hooligan.
car driving around before I ever met Jim here.
Yeah.
And then you cross paths. It's really funny. A wedding years and years ago, they got, my wife has a 1953 Oldsmobile, and Cassie drove the wedding couple around in this Olds, and Jim was at the freaking wedding. We didn't
Yeah.
know him at the time.
Yeah, when I went to engineering school, it was
Oh yeah, Jim,
friend
yeah,
of
yeah,
mine,
yeah.
and yeah, she was having this wedding, and they the wedding car is this '53 black Olds, and I was like, oh man, is that ever cool?
Yeah.
But
Didn't know.
just paths across.
Yeah.
But so
That's the same with Alex. Some of you know from Cold War Motors there. Jim knew him way before I did, but I met him through different body shops and things, and just he was always just a guy you knew of, and then somebody you meet and always kind of. You don't want to get philosophical on it, but it's funny when you meet somebody and then you just become friends, whether you talk to them 3 times or 1,000 times, you just are on the same kind of plane.
yeah, same wavelength.
Yeah, and so this little community kind of sprouted from there, and then this kind of was a goal that we had always, was to have a shop. Like Cassie, like I said, my wife is a mechanic, and at the time I was working with David Ryan, who, like I said, I have kind of apprenticed under, and he's been a mentor and a really good friend for years, but then with the shop being in such rough shape, things happen and whatever, and then here we are now, basically.
Yeah, right.
Here we are now.
And it's pretty funny you mentioned like with Scott. I had met him because I kind of when I became friends with him, it was probably in the 2010s or whatever. I guess it's what you'd call it. But my boss, I was working at an engineering firm, and my boss, what was it? He knows Scott's sister, and so he would always get his stuff painted at Scott's, and he was like, "Oh man, you'd really like this guy. Like you'd fit in good with him." And so he takes me over there the one day, and I was like, "Been here before." And in probably 2007, I think Scott. This was way before Kijiji, Craigslist, all that. I think he just sells stuff by parking it on his hill.
Ah, the hill.
And my neighbor said, "Hey Jim, this guy's with a Volkswagen van out by our Drawson for sale." So I went out there and met this guy. I was like, "Oh, cool." He showed me around. He had all this cool old stuff. Bought the van from him, and then years go by. I was like, "Wait a minute, in here." So
that's funny because we all live within probably 6 or 7, 8 miles of each other. Like we're all quite close. Jim lives about 5 miles south of me, and Scott lives about 5 miles east, and it's funny. So that's kind of how this came to be where we're at now, Strong's Garage. And then Jim got tired of engineering.
I guess a little backstory on my existence is that I into cars kind of we were always tinkering on stuff. Like as a kid, we'd go to garage sales. My dad got like this old boat motor, and I remember like being 6 years old, tearing it all apart, and none of this stuff would ever go back together. Nope. But
never does.
Then doing model cars, and then for whatever reason, maybe it was the Herbie movies or something. I got big into Volkswagens when I was probably like 12, and so when I was 14, I was like, "That's it, I'm getting a car." And so I bought a 1966 Beetle, and I was all into it and fixed it all up, and that's how I met Alex from Cold War Motors. Like we were in the same welding class. He was fixing up a Mini, I was fixing up a Beetle, and he helped me paint it. And so in high school, I was quite good at math, and so but also very good at mechanics. And I was like, well, my parents were like, "Oh, you should become an engineer or something." I was like, "Well, mechanical engineer, that might be close." And
turns out it's not.
No, it wasn't close at all. So so I went university, got my engineering degree, and worked at a place that did destructive testing, and it was quite interesting. Met a lot of people, and like the knowledge through university was wonderful, but ended up just working up the ladder to be just kind of a manager, and I'd sit, check emails, and look at cars for sale, and just dream about working on cars. And so I kind of had enough of that, got out of that, worked on a farm for a bit, and then the opportunity came up where Matt was looking for employment, I was looking for employment, and there
we go. Well, like I said, the rest is sort of history.
Amy asks, how's your foot doing?
Oh, my foot. And for those of you that don't know, I took a tumble off a ladder about 5 weeks ago, and it's on the mend. I'm hoping to be walking again by mid-January. Can't come soon enough, I can tell you that. Hey.
You're wearing out your arms and your shirt.
Yeah, my shirt's wearing out. These things are wearing out. Oh, that's funny. We haven't really mentioned that, but I guess we should. We're working on this here. I'll just bring it out to the side and give you a little look here.
Yeah, if you can.
Oh, I can make it.
Shuffle over there, no problem.
I'll just grab the pot here.
Oh, no.
Top up the old cups.
Oh yeah, I get that.
You ready for this? Cassie needs another splash. But Cassie here mending the questions and making sure everything's questioning and stuff. Hey.
Thanks, Jim.
Oh yeah, you bet.
What we're drinking is our newest product, which we're set to unveil pretty soon.
Yeah, hopefully in the new year.
Strong's Garage Coffee. How about that, huh?
What a thing, yeah.
Roasted locally by roasters by hand.
Yeah.
And it's a really good coffee. So we're setting up a website and things right now to try and
people were asking for merchandise. They're like, wow, what do we...
There we go.
Yeah.
Bag of beans. It's really good coffee, and we hope to have that unveiled here in the new year. Yeah. So that's what we drink now. We drink. We used to drink whatever was the cheapest at the store next door, but now we got our own coffee. So there it is, Strong's Garage. Yeah. If it was a video, we'd pan in and you'd be able to see the logo a little better. But that's it. Yep. For those of you that like coffee, it's always best fresh, so we always get beans and we grind it on this old hand grinder. We've always done that. We did use that vacuum pot, but we did break that.
Yeah, that thing got...
I've yet to get a seal for the other one, so we're under the old bun machine there.
Yeah, it's pretty good though. It's good. Production grade coffee.
Oh, yeah.
And you really got to get stuff done.
That's right. Yeah, can't be drinking coffee all day.
No.
Anything else?
Murad says, are you guys getting calls to do cylinder heads?
Oh, cylinder
Sleeves?
sleeves.
Oh no, we haven't been getting no calls for that yet.
Yeah, right.
That hasn't caught on quite
Yeah,
yet.
dial 5.
Yeah, we'd have to get a time machine. Yeah, what was the old number here? 20.
20, yeah.
Yeah, phone 20.
But
No, but we
no.
could do that. We got about 4 or 5 Model T and Model A engines we are going to build, so
Yeah,
don't
it's
need
just a
sleeves, though.
handy device to have for,
Yeah, just
you
straight
know,
boring, you know.
yeah, low speed, low yeah, race engine. I don't think I'd want to
Yeah.
get too
See, that's the thing.
wild
Like
with.
when you get the antique equipment, a lot of it does work like it should. Like a lot of it works. There hasn't been anything to surpass it yet. Like a power hammer, for example, or a plenishing hammer for doing sheet metal work. There's no tool made that replaces that tool that came out at the turn of the last century, 1905 or so. But with some of the cylinder boring stuff and some of the tolerances that modern engines and speeds and stuff, we're not in that kind of engine building business at all because, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
there's so many people that do that so good. So all what we do is try to preserve antique cars correctly.
Yeah.
And then we use cutting edge equipment, but we also try to incorporate as much antique stuff as we can because, in reality, there's a big difference between building a perfect Model T engine like we can do and and taking it to an engine shop and having an engine builder that's used to modern engines. It's just a different thing. We do
Yeah.
two different things. So that's what we're trying to
Walk the
make
line
ourselves.
because
Yeah.
there's
Because
yeah,
there's a place for it and there's a market for it and there's a need for it.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And there's some like you see, like you could take a T engine and
Oh, yeah.
engineer it
They
right
do.
to the
Yeah.
hilt, and they do. But say if you just want to trade around, like it's quite a barrier to get into the hobby if you got this
It can be.
crazy hopped up.
Can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be. And like with us and our specialized tools and kind of the skill set that developed over the years, it's we found our niche, so to speak. And I think I'm happy where we are because I worked in restoration shops and hot rod shops and everything, and that's a different thing. And we can do all that stuff, but I just think that I'm not an expert at building totally modern pro touring cars. And I feel the same way when I worked in those shops. It took time for me to learn these antique cars correctly because of my own cars. But then you just have to do. It takes a real passion and a lot of your own research because there's no school you can go to anymore that teaches that. There's Wyotech and there's trade schools that teach modern auto body and modern mechanics, and that's fine. But if you want to be able to be proficient and efficient in
The old
Babbitt
ways,
bearings
yeah.
or carburetors or all that kind of stuff, that's on your own.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so that was what I spent years and years of learning
Yeah.
and getting to know really, really old people that, like, most of my friends are quite old or have passed away, but they taught me a lot of how things were because they were mechanics at the time where this stuff was maybe not Model Ts, but in the early 1950s, there would have still been a lot of 30s and 40s Fords on the road. So all that, and that technology didn't change that much. If you're into early Fords from 1932 to 48, that's pretty much the same. Even Model A up with the wheel bearings, the way they, like all that stuff, right? So when you're proficient at early Fords, well, then you're kind of proficient at early Chevs because there's not a lot of difference between them. Like antique engineering
Yes.
is, they were limited by their time, so most cars are built relatively the same way.
Oh, yeah, with similar suppliers for certain things.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
Yep.
And no, it is interesting too because it is sort of a passion you got to take on yourself because you can have all the old books in the world, but the way modern fuel degrades a carburetor, the way things wear out, like it's not in the book from back then or nowadays how to deal with that. And
Cork float is a perfect example. A lot of old carburetors have cork floats, and cork worked fine with old gas, but ethanol will ruin cork, and it just weights it down. And you can shellac it. There's that new foams, but all those things that they would have told you in a book from 1925 to do to repair your carburetor, you've got to incorporate that knowledge with the modern problems that we have with our gas and the way things are. That it kind of makes walking the line again.
Yeah.
Where you've got to bring the oldest and the newest technology together and hopefully meet in the middle without deteriorating the integrity of the antique car. The driving experience. I've said it before lots, but I truly feel like whether it's a modified car, a hot rod, a custom, a completely stock restored car, or an unrestored car, it's a time machine to whatever period you put on it as a person. So if you take a Model T Ford and restore it back to 1920, it's a time machine for 1920. If you take a Model T Ford that's a 1920 touring car and it's kind of a beater and looks like it would have been in 1940, and you have that kind of stuff on it, you can make that a time machine for 1940. It's the same thing with hot rods. If you build a 40s or 50s style hot rod, you can take your Model A Ford Roadster and turn it into a 1940s hot rod, and it's still a period car. So anything period correct to me gets all of my respect because it's really hard
Oh yeah, to get all the
the
details.
details and to
Yes.
find the parts and not the reproduction parts that they have. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like to take something from being period correct to period perfect. The last 10% is where I find that the most fascinating and interesting. Same with
Yes.
restoration, like having everything just so for 1925 or 1940 or whatever year you're restoring your car. Those little 10% things are what I'm excited about. I go home at night. I look at pictures. You do a lot of on your own time research, and you learn so much when you put the time in for that. That's where you get the broad spectrum of skills, is because you're passionate about every aspect of the car. Now, we don't paint here, we don't do body work, and we don't do interiors.
Yeah.
But pretty much every other aspect of the car we can manage.
Take care of in-house here.
Yeah. Oh, there's
Tools and
always a
parts.
tool or parts on
Oh,
the horizon,
man,
eh?
there's tons. Yeah.
Antique speed equipment for Model A Fords is one up there. Model T Fords
Right.
there. Flathead
Distributor
V8s.
machine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to get
for,
factory Ford tools, like the 1930s Ford engine analyzing the rig. My old
Yeah.
boss has one. I've been bugging him about it for years, but he said he's not ready to let it go. But I don't know what that's a tough question. There's a lot of tools I'd like to get just to have. Like, for one, the K260 Snap-on toolbox, if you're familiar with it, it's the very first box that Snap-on made themselves. Very Art Deco, like the coolest box. I think they were 1939, 40, and 41. I would like to have that just to have, but
yeah.
it's not going to improve our life none.
No, you're not gonna get the job.
Yeah.
Well, you might get it done a little faster.
Yeah. Antique auto body tools I'm really keen on. I love, like, that's the trade that I started out in, was the restoration side of like the auto body and sheet metal work. So I love antique auto body books, like 20s and 30s stuff, and hammers and planishing hammers and stuff. We got a bunch of that. We've never showed it on the channel yet, but that's one of those things where we were trying. What we're doing is we're creating a long game here, because we don't want to.
Oh yeah.
We got to keep people coming back.
Yeah. The keep constant chase. Yeah, we're not just
Right?
gonna be at the finish line standing here. Yep, we got it
That's
all,
it,
guys.
yeah.
Put your
But there's
feet up,
always
but-
something a person is looking for, but I like his tools that have a story. I've probably said this before too, but tools from my mentors mean a lot to me, because they it's like the passing of the torch, so to speak, and then I'll pass them on to the next person, whether that's my kids or whoever. But to have a tool, this is what's interesting. Like, to restore cars, fine, the building is sweet because it made of people. We've salvaged this Strong and Sons building, which we really don't have that much history on, because it's kind of a hard to get pictures of and stuff. But with a tool, it made somebody a living. It fed a family. It did that for possibly generations.
Oh yeah.
And we got stuff that's from 1900, from the 1890s, like that Shaper, and it's neat that even though so many years have passed, 100 years, 50 years, 75 years, whatever, that tool is still relevant, and it's still,
yeah.
that's what we like
still
to do. We
useful
like to
today,
use
yeah.
the tools as much as we can, because they're neat on display. But so the big thing that we collect is K.R. Wilson tools, which are the factory Ford, like they would have been at a dealership. They were made by the K.R. Wilson company for Ford dealerships. You could buy them. They did every specialized job you could think of. Literally everything on a T, an early V8A. So we've been collecting those for years, and
Yeah, they just make the job so much easier to do.
all
and
that
just
stuff
it's
where we make it
made
look
for
easy.
it
It's that
instead of
tool, right?
fighting with clamping things together.
So
and
that's
sort of
the big
works.
thing. I'd love to have a cast iron table one day with like an Acme, like those acorn tables with all the little square holes one day. I mean, that's what's beautiful about it. It's like a car collection. You're always expanding it. And
Oh yeah. It's dynamic. It's not just
But you can
a
use 'em.
static thing.
not that you
Yes.
can't use a car, but the tools to me are really cool. And then we get jobs in where I've got an old tool that I've had for years that I haven't gotten around to restoring yet. We'll get a job where we need it. It's a good excuse for us to fix the tool.
Yes.
And then once the tool's
exactly.
fixed, it's back in service.
Yeah, ready to go.
Because most of these tools, some of them, the better they work, the worse shape they are.
Oh yeah, no.
They
If
get
it's
used and abused.
a good working tool, it's well worn out, and that's the funny thing. If it never worked very good, it's in mint condition.
Yeah.
They use it once and put it on the shelf.
Threw it
and there
away, yeah.
sits. Yeah.
Anything else, Cass?
Oh,
Oh,
awesome.
thanks, Daniel. Wow, that's appreciated.
Oh, that's much appreciated. Yeah,
that really
no, 'cause
helps,
it's-
because we try to. This takes a lot of time, and you folks know. I mean, it takes a lot of time to film and edit and all that stuff. We try to do it in our own way, because like what we do is real, anyways. It's the work we're doing. So
yeah, and that's kind of how it all started
is-
out. Is
yeah.
that we had done all this work on the building and the cars, and it was just us three here, and it was like, well, people would get a kick out of
I
this.
think people would
it's
like
pretty,
this, yeah,
pretty
because
nice.
there was a bubble. We worked in here we've been working on the building, not really working in here, but like this stuff's been happening I wish we would have been better at documenting the restoration of the building for the last 10 years, because that's something people would like. I can't explain how poor this building was after we got into it. It's like a car. Like I said, you look at it on the outside, sweet, a little bit of paint,
Yeah.
and then you start going to sand it for paint, and the quarter panel falls off. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
shoot. But Daniel, that's really appreciated, because that helps. We put it right back into the channel. We use that. We're going to try and get some new microphones and stuff, and I think the more we can kind of grow this channel, the more we'll be able to showcase more things that we do, because we can take more time. Because it takes a 4-hour job and turns it into an 8-hour job or something.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
So,
when you're trying to get something done, set it up, and
yeah. So we try to film it in a way that's coherent, and it's the same reason we don't do, like, if you're into learning, which I'm always learning. Everybody's always learning. That's the key to success.
yes,
If you're into that, you got to find people that know what they're talking about. And there's a few people that I like. Carter's Auto Restyling. If you don't watch Kyle Carter,
oh yeah, definitely take a
Kyle he's perfect for what, like, he does everything the way it should be done. I've never talked to anybody that I didn't know from working with that looks at everything almost the same as I do, like slip planes and the way metal works and metallurgy and shrinking and stretching and metal finishing. All of that stuff that he shows on his channel is perfect, because it's, in my opinion, the way things should be done on that level. The reason I think that is so important is because he does it all with hand tools that most people have.
yeah. And on vehicles, most people wouldn't.
So, and I'm not trying to be conceited. I don't want this to come out the wrong way. It's just some of the tools that we use all the time. Not everybody has the mechanics tools we do. I don't even know how to say this without being a weenie. But the tool that I'm going to use to do the job, nobody has. So it's kind of, for me to explain the process to do it with the tool that way, like a power hammer or something like that I learned on. I'll show that. We'll show that, but it won't be the same in depth as we do with the mechanic stuff, because that stuff is, whether you have the special tool or not, you still have to change the spring perch, or you still have to change the kingpin, and so Kyle and Scott obviously has a huge following, and does exactly what is required for that. You can glean a lot for the hobbyist, or the guy who's like, I'm always learning. So I think what we're trying to do is just the 20s and 30s stuff doesn't seem to be covered so much. And I figured that was a neat place for us to fit in, to shoehorn in. It's where my interests are anyways, so
Oh yeah,
it's easy to talk about something you like. You know? Anything else, Cass?
Oh,
That's okay.
Yeah.
It was hard to keep up. I
Yeah.
got Cassie over there trying to man the ship, and
Yeah.
Are we doing Model T races?
yeah, we'll probably do it again. We had a little hiccup there last year with some politicking and different things that happened, and it was unfortunate. But I think September long weekend. Huh? Yeah, like the original races were Labor Day in Edmonton back in the 1940s. So we're going to shoot for Labor Day weekend again here, September, whatever that is, the first weekend of
whatever
September.
it lays. Yeah.
So look for that, because that's been a lot of fun to try to recreate that again. It's like this: you try to recreate something that never was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
Repair request.
Well, we've done parts for people. Like, I've never, like, the stuff we're doing right now is more within 150 or 200 miles.
Yeah, because it's kind of neat, because it's I don't know, in our little area, there's not tons of places you can go to get this old stuff worked
That's right.
on, and so it's kind of found a neat little niche that.
I've made pieces and parts for people far away and shipped them. When I worked with Dave Ryan, we used to we made some cord step sills, and he makes cord door skins and stuff, and we would ship those a long ways away if people needed parts. But you can make a piece and ship it. But as far as sending a car all the way here, unless it's something major that we can do the entire car, it's really not. It's kind of impractical, I guess.
Yeah.
We try to be as helpful as possible with. We do some people will ship in. Guy shipped in a set of rods that we had to machine, so we shipped those and shipped them back. Or we could do kingpins and stuff, like stuff that you could ship fairly easy, but the big thing not too far.
Yeah.
Anything else? No, we don't. Do we have a year cutoff for cars we work on? No, not really.
Yeah.
We just tend to focus on this because that's
Probably
what's
like a
coming in.
soft line in the 80s or
Yeah, well,
whatever,
yeah, that
'cause,
would be
it's,
super hard, I think.
pretty
But
hard.
by the 1960s or 70s, I think we're
Yeah.
pretty much not we're not. It's not that we're not experienced and that we can do that. It's just that there's a broader range of people that are probably better at that, like muscle cars and things. I did that when I worked in a restoration shop. But people that know that stuff inside and out, their bread and butter.
Oh,
We
yeah.
send them the muscle cars, and they send us their
Yeah,
1920s and 30s cars. So we work together sometimes, and we do consulting. We do lots of consulting of find cars for people. I found lots of cars over the years.
Yeah,
and,
Matt's a real knack for
Yeah.
finding people stuff.
and we
Yeah.
do consulting like on restoration. Sometimes if people are wondering stuff, or sometimes our books or copy pictures, or just help people, or consulting before they buy a car, or help, like any kind of thing. Done lots of European cars when I worked with Dave in Calgary. We did lots of 1950s European cars. Did Aston Martin, 59 Aston Martin, bunch of 356 Porsches, like stuff like that. But right now, I think where we're at, because of just the way the cards kind of fell, is we've been just pre-war.
Yeah.
I like it, but I would do anything 50s
Oh,
or 60s.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much a long-winded way of saying not really.
Oh, thanks,
Oh, thanks, John Powell. Maybe
Wow,
we'll
I
spend it
wonder
on
if he's- yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
secret. Oh, Peter
Oh,
Crowell.
Peter Crowell.
Oh,
Right
thanks.
on.
Yeah,
I believe he's a patron.
he is.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's double
another
dip there.
kind of little.
Thank you. We do have a Patreon.
Yeah.
In case you're inclined, we try to focus a video a week there on a tool, a specialty tool. And I think in the new year we've got some plans. I don't want to unveil them yet, but we're working on a few ideas for that. Where like the how to, like this is how I think we've decided to do our channel, and maybe we're wrong, but a how-to channel is open to debate. Always, when it's your own,
completely, yeah.
everybody has their own way of
Well,
doing
it's how
things,
you
and
do
that's
it, right?
fine.
Yeah.
I think what I like, the way we do things, at least the way that I feel like we do things, is if we do it to the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s service bulletin or service book or whatever. Yeah, there might be a modern way to do it that's better or faster, a different way, but that's exactly how it would have been done in the day.
Oh,
and
yeah.
to me, that's it's kind of cool to bring that page in the that you have the same greasy fingerprints. You're adding your own greasy fingerprints to that same service book.
Yeah.
And doing the same job exactly that way with the tools in a lot of cases.
Which is quite neat, because we talk about how the cars can be like a venue for time traveling,
so can the work.
let alone the work.
Yeah.
Where you have the factory manual,
Yeah.
you're using the tool from the
Mhm.
job on the car, and so
That's kind of how we set it up in here. So when we close the door and come into work, it could be whatever, 1930, 40, 50. It could be any time we want it to be, or it could be 2022.
Yeah.
So we're not completely living in the past, but it's getting close.
Yeah. So.
Yes. Did the shop ever have gas pumps out front? Indeed, it did. I have a crummy picture from 1958 from a side street shot, and this is kind of already starting to look a little rundown. And there's a Shell. It's a Shell gas station, 2 Shell pumps out front. Under the floor, there was piping and stuff for where those gas pumps out front. But back in the 1930s, the gas pumps were beside the building. And when we did the side of the building, we had to redo all the studs and everything. It's all spray foam. You could see where the doors and windows and everything were to go to a lot beside the shop, which we don't have. We just
so
have,
we could ever afford to buy the bank and
Yeah.
tear it down.
They'll
we could
just
do a
recreate the
beautiful
lot.
recreation of the lot. Yeah.
We've talked and toyed with the idea before of putting a visible pump out front of the shop, like even a reproduction, just a restored pump out front. And I would love to. It's just there's so many bureaucratic rules and stuff, which is fine to jump through, but maybe one day I would love to do it just to do it. And that would be just not to do anything other than to have a spot where people could come out here on the weekends and take a picture in front of the shop with their old car or whatever.
Yeah. Official shop truck.
We have several official
We've
shop trucks.
procured one,
Yeah.
but
We haven't unveiled it yet.
yeah, we
though.
haven't unveiled it.
But we do have official shop trucks. They're Dodge diesels.
Yeah, there's
Second-gen Dodge
several of
diesels.
them. Yeah, depending on the
Huh? Yeah, one
Yeah,
first
one
gen.
first
Yeah, the
gen,
old
but-
91. Yeah.
poor Mother Nature is slowly
Yeah,
claiming
yeah.
back.
We do have a shop truck. It's been sitting for about a year. We just haven't had the time or wherewithal to get it in here and get after
Yeah,
it.
we keep making these empty threats that we're gonna get it.
I would
ready
love to
for,
do it.
Yeah,
We just got to save up a little bit of change and try and get it in here because it would be cool. And it'd be
Yeah.
the only one.
yeah,
I don't want to spill the beans, but we'll get after it. I think we'll try and do that before summer.
yeah.
I don't like to
A
say what
summer,
we're going
not
to do.
this
Yeah.
summer, but-
Here's a philosophy that I picked up in the last number of years is the more you talk about something you're going to do, it's exponentially less of a chance that it's going to happen because your brain tells you that it's done.
Yeah.
So I try now to just focus on what we're doing. But there is a shop truck. It's owned. It's sitting,
Yeah.
patiently waiting. We've got some parts for it here, even NOS parts for it, ready to go.
Yeah.
Ideally, if we just had a couple of weeks where you just work on it, it'd be on the road. But
Yeah.
it's the carrot.
The carrot, yes. Keep it dangling out front.
So the shop truck, look for that. We'll definitely unveil a shop truck sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Anything else? Is it possible to visit the shop and get a tour? Oh, well, yeah, we try to schedule, like, I love to show people the building because we get to show them everything we've done.
Oh, yeah.
And people get a kick out of it.
And when people are into it, it's super.
It's cool. So yes, people can come tour the shop. It's best to either send us an email or something and make a little appointment.
Yeah, kind of a pre-scheduled thing because
we're not always here.
With the YouTube and with it gets hard to get work done sometimes.
Yeah, that's hard.
And as much as we'd love to just chat
maybe we
and
can
tour,
just turn it into a museum one day.
Yeah,
like
tomorrow.
Yeah. So yes, people can tour the shop if they're in the neighborhood or make an arrangement or something. Strong's Garage at shaw.ca is the easiest way to get a hold of us. And people love the shop and they love touring it. So I would like to organize the Edmonton Antique Auto Club. They're like a pre-1952 club in Edmonton, been going since 1962. I think we're gonna try and organize like a tour for them. And maybe in the summer we'll have a coffee and cars thing on a Sunday once a month or something. But these are all things I shouldn't be talking about because we don't know.
Yeah.
But that's the plan.
Chance of it happening now.
Now it's down.
A little bit. Yeah.
We do that. Are we going to get into Babbitt bearing work? Yes, we do that now.
Yeah.
We do Babbitt bearing work on everything. Yeah, we've done lots of Model Ts and As, but also we've done Cad LaSalle and 1932 Buick and different various projects.
Yeah.
And pretty much we're getting slowly set up for that. The more tools we get, the easier it's getting. Because some of those tools were obsolete by the 1950s in a lot of cases.
Yeah, for them to kick around and be in good shape.
So I've been trying to procure tools and stuff. There's this machine in Calgary.
I guess if people are asking for tools or interested in, yes.
Yeah, there's it. It's the Storm Vulcan rod resizing machine. You take a Babbitt rod and you put it on this machine and you can resize it. I would like to find something like that to expedite the process. Yeah. It would save us time and the customer money. Yeah. And it's a service that really is lost to time, like sheet metal shaping. Not that there's nobody that does it. It's just that there used to be a lot. Everybody could do it. I mean, that was just the way it was done. And
you're saying what the plant had 2 shifts of how many people?
Power hammers. At the Fisher Body Works, they had like 2 shifts of power hammer workers that could run a power hammer every day, all day, 2 shifts, 24 hours a day. And that you'd be lucky to find 1,000 people in the whole world that can do. I wouldn't even say 1,000 in the whole world that can do it right or correctly. So here's another thing that I've noticed is that like a renaissance of the tools, because we talk about having the right tool for the job all the time. There's a lot of companies that have started that are painstakingly remaking the tool exactly how it should be and would have been.
Yeah, which is just wonderful.
My goodness. If you're into sheet metal equipment, Pettingill power hammers were the first to kind of develop this style of reciprocating power hammer. We have an original here that I got from Dave Ryan. It's from probably 1910, maybe a little older. But that company was revived, and they completely, every aspect of that hammer is remade exactly like it would have been in I can't remember what year the 2M came out of. It's a motor-mounted one. It's a 2M, but those kind of things to me, I find, and people buy them, and they make such a beautiful hammer. He makes a number 1 and a number 2, 2 different sizes.
Yeah.
But there's a market for it because there's like a renaissance of this, which I think people are striving for the correct thing. Like Princess Auto and Harbor Freight work. There's no question.
Oh, for sure. You just got to do one thing, and it's wonderful for if you're in your garage.
There's nothing better to have a planishing hammer from Princess Auto or Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
But if you can find a Water Valette or a Milwaukee or a Chicago Pneumatic from the 1930s, 40s, or 50s, I mean, it's just they work so good. There's lots of
problem is that's creeping up on 100 years old. So
the originals, yes. But then there's a guy that makes a Milwaukee planishing hammer exactly like it was, and so I think people are like, it's worth investing in. At one time, getting off track here, but at one time there was no such thing as hobby equipment and hobby tools. Like if you were a tradesman in the day, you had top quality stuff. You were a carpenter, it was only distance saws and it was only Stanley planes, and there was no Chinese version. It was like you had to invest in that.
Yes. So you'd either hire the guy that had it,
Or yeah. But now with all this at home stuff, which is wonderful, everybody gets a chance to learn these lost trades. Which as long as
Yeah.
somebody's doing it, it's never a lost trade.
Yeah.
But you lose a little bit in the experience. Like I don't know if anybody plays music, but it's like that with a musical instrument. So I think of tools exactly the same way. I was a musician for years. The instrument should be higher than your skill set because it's like inspirational. It's an inspirational instrument. The better your instrument gets, the better you get. And it's like that with a tool. So you start out, and the better tools you get, the better you work, and the job goes easier, and the finish is better, and everything incrementally goes up. And that's the way I think of these tools, is like they're inspirational, not to be a weirdo, but they are, in a way, they kind of create this. It's like this whole mindset, this craftsmanship mindset, where you can do a job in a allotted, a reasonable amount of time to exacting standards. And that's kind of the way that's why we've had to start our own business, is because when you work for somebody, you don't get to call those shots. I can spend an extra hour and eat it or whatever. Not that you guy wants to do that all the time, but you try to do that for the job, and that's kind of where it goes. And as you're learning an apprenticeship, the guy you're apprenticing under would be able to do that job in 4 hours, and you take 8. Well, you can't, like, at least you couldn't charge 8 hours to do a job that should take 4. You'd have to eat a few of your hours, and that was like going to school. So then you kind of develop your skill set as fast as you can, or you just end up quitting.
Yeah.
Or going broke or whatever.
Oh.
Well, we can do that, Jake. We show body lead work. Yes, we do that. We can do that. But again, like I said, if you look at Kyle Carter, he does a video on lead work, which is exactly the way it's done. But we can do it too one day.
Oh,
we've got to do some lead work on some stuff. So I'm sure we'll dip into that stuff.
Yeah.
That's the bread and butter stuff that I kind of.
It's been kind of like a setting up the shops thing, and then mechanical work, and now Matt's finally getting all the metal shaping stuff set up, and then
back to zero
got
here.
laid up.
Oh, thanks so much for that. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, right.
And he's also a patron.
So oh, is he? Oh, thanks again. Yeah. No. The support has been actually wonderful. I'm very surprised that there's that many people out there that like what we're doing.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's quite far removed from kind of your every day-to-day stuff or anything you really see on TV or YouTube. So.
And I'm a big proponent to try and get like the hobby into like the youth involved, and like we're such an archaic way of the way we kind of run things that we're not getting into the youth's hands. But if we go to a car show or something, I really try to get younger people involved, because it doesn't have to be out of reach. You make it out of reach if you decide you want a Duesenberg and you don't have Duesenberg money. Well, then you're never going to. But if you start with something you can afford or parts or whatever, just be part of the hobby, I think it's a wonderful place, and you learn so much. And I think there's been a lot of, in the last number of years, a shift in the hobby from what I considered as a young person awesome, which was these huge collections of projects and parts. But now, as I get older, I realize that that's just gatekeeping the hobby, because these people are never going to do. They're never going to do anything with it. They won't sell it, and like, it's your stuff. You do what you want. But I mean, if you're truly interested in the youth, now's the time.
Oh, for sure.
20 years ago,
that is the thing, is that we're really just kind of keepers of all these artifacts. Like, people come and go. Like,
that's right.
That's kind of the neat thing. I've picked up that 41 Continental, and so I've been in contact with the family that had it before, and the guy, he was a doctor, and he'd always wanted a Lincoln, and so in his late 40s, this was 1970, he purchased the car and took it to shows, like, just did everything with it. He was in parades, loved it, right up until I think he passed away 2014. He got that car engraved in his headstone.
Yeah, that's a
so
true
it's neat. Like, for that period of time, that was his car, his legacy, and now it's kind of the torch has been passed. And so and that's kind of the biggest thing, is like these 20s cars and 30s cars are getting to be 100 years old. They're getting to be so old that to find a project now in a barn is almost impossible. They've either all been found, or they've been restored, or they've been restored poorly, or they've been restored really good, or whatever. But that's why at car shows and stuff, you see a lot of 80s cars and 70s cars and 90s cars being restored. And there's nothing wrong with that, because in 1950, they were already restoring Model A's, and that's the same age difference. It's just that I think as a collector, we're at a point now in the hobby. We're getting off track again. No, it don't matter. We're just live. Yeah, right.
We're at a point now in the hobby, in my opinion, again, I should put a little disclaimer there.
Yeah.
Where we have these artifacts which we consider wonderful, you know, the cars or the motorcycles or the signs or the gas pumps or whatever. In the 1960s and 70s or 50s or whenever 80s, when people started collecting these things, they were worthless. They were free. They were left outside. They were junk. Old gas pumps, all that stuff. So that collector collected because he loved them. You know,
Yeah.
they
You'd
were
have
of
a
no
million
value.
gas pumps piled up in your old sheds.
So now what we have is the stuff is of such high value that you have a collectors, and there's nothing wrong with this. It's just the way it is. You have collectors that collect stuff because it's worth a lot of money. And that's two different ways to look at the hobby,
yeah.
in my opinion. Because you have a motorcycle or a car 20 years ago was $1,500 and now it's 60,000.
Yeah,
There's a
which
big,
is-
that's a really hard, I mean, that's inflation or anything. That's just the way, that's just rampant in value escalation in
Yeah.
the hobby. So that's kept a lot of people out of the hobby too. It's the same way we're into antique tractors. I don't know if people are into antique tractors, but I've always liked big pre-1930 tractors. You know, they were where we're from. Those were used. A lot of those tractors
yeah.
were either in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, North Dakota, like
Yeah.
the grain belt. So there was Rumleys and there was all these huge big tractors that used to be just laying in fence rows, and they were free or junk or like Reynolds, like Stan Reynolds at Reynolds Museum. If any of you are familiar with, would go around collecting them when they were worthless. Now those tractors are worth. Well, we worked on a
Incredible.
tractor that sold for what, 400,000 US.
Yeah.
A tractor.
Yeah.
That was fun. We got to work on it. We did quite a bit of work to it. But again, that's a whole different. It's like a whole different level where you can't. You have to be so wealthy. So to find somebody who's truly wealthy and truly interested in it is rare.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful when you meet people who are truly passionate about the hobby or the item, and
Yeah.
it's just it doesn't matter what that
Passion
thing
breeds
is.
passion. Period.
Yes.
I've always thought that. Whether it's teaspoon collector, watch collector, cars, motorcycles, trucks, tractors.
Oh yeah,
cash
we went to a
registers.
wonderful presentation of a guy who collected gramophones,
Oh,
and yeah, they
I
put on
wanted
a
to go and
VHS
buy them
tape,
all.
and
Yeah.
watched 40 minutes of this guy, and it was
Yeah, he was so enthused with these old radios and gramophones and Edison disc players and stuff that it just made you just love them. And I think that's you have to have the person tell the story in a way that's compelling.
Yeah.
And that's how you get the people in.
yeah.
And then once
for
they're
sure.
hooked, you do what you can. Look, nobody's wealthy here, you know, but you do what you can to try and get what you can. You trade, you sell, you know, if you really want it, you can kind of create your own reality, so to speak. You know?
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
We
John said you guys are great.
John, thank you so
Wow,
much.
thanks,
I appreciate that.
yeah, that's incredible. So yeah.
You know, we're really, like I said, we're not scripted. We're not trying to do no smoke and mirrors stuff. I mean, this is truly just what it is. And I think
Yeah.
by that, it's I think people like it for what it is, and I appreciate that. It
Yeah.
really does mean a lot because we're just out here windbagging. all
Oh
the time,
yeah, but
hoping
it's
people-
good.
Is
Oh,
it
the white
56?
one. Oh,
Oh, maybe one
hard
day.
to say.
We
Hard
got
to say. Yeah.
Scott's got to finish the quarter panel with Jim. Maybe I'll help him with that. But there still needs to make some of the hood, and there's some door parts
Yeah,
to
yeah.
make. So
And then our small policy of not plugging up the shop with our own cars. I've already
Jim's is quoted.
overstayed my welcome with a couple. So I'm sure one more 19-foot car wouldn't really be.
Oh, no issue.
Yeah.
One day, maybe.
Yeah.
I hope, like, when it's your own personal projects, and again, this channel doesn't pay us to work on our own cars as much as I wish we could be at that point.
Yeah,
That would be-
right.
But it's customer stuff. So whatever kind of comes through the door, we're not out to create content, so to speak, either. It just is here. So there's work
Yeah.
to do. So at least with myself, I haven't. Me and Cassie haven't worked on our own stuff in years because it's just been this building, and then I didn't really collect cars when I was getting into sheet metal shaping. I mean, I was into cars. I have cars, a few, but it wasn't like I was amassing cars. I was trying to find tools. So a lot of these tools we've been collecting for my whole life. I mean,
Yeah, a lot of them are the value of a car, the size of a car.
yeah, that's the problem, you know. So that was kind of where that is. And now that we kind of got our tools where we want them to be, because it's very expensive and hard to get a lot of these tools. And some of the stuff like car parts or whatever, especially rare stuff, you kind of have to buy it when it's for sale, not when you need it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure.
So that's why at the time, and through Dave Ryan, like I said, to be able to learn, I was lucky. Not that I'm an old man, but when I started getting into restoration, I worked at different shops, and then I was working at a shop, and they hired this David Ryan, who ended up, like I said, becoming one of my best friends, and really like somebody you look up to. And he was the one who showed me all these tools that there was no English wheels yet at Princess Auto or Harbor Freight quite. I was just at the beginning of that, where this stuff was really hard to get and really hard to learn about. But now it's everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so that's great. That really helps the hobby, I guess. But I was lucky to meet him. And then, like I said, my dad, who helps us out here, we've talked about him before. He's trucking and construction, so I grew up around that my whole life. But also, he got into machining when I don't remember how, maybe 12 or 13 or 14. He bought his first lathe and started teaching himself. And then he kind of just went
Took
haywire.
off, and
Yeah. So then he's just a machinist now, and he's fixes up all this old equipment and does all these crazy jobs and stuff. So that's also been, I've noticed, when Dad would get a better tool or a better lathe or a better milling machine or better measuring instruments or whatever, or a different cutting head, how it would expedite the job and make the job better. And we just applied that to the bottom rung, the mechanical, right? Because it's harder than it looks when you don't have the tools. Like, you can't do a kingpin job without a way to ream the kingpins.
Oh, yeah, right?
So you either got to take it to a machine shop or bring it to us or somebody, but somebody has to have the tool.
And it's funny, and we were all there. Like, I remember as a kid trying to do,
Yep.
like 16 years old, trying to do kingpins
We
with a
redid
file. Like,
We redid them.
I had to redo them because it was, but without the tool, and
that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
and if you just need it for one time,
that's it.
Yeah.
It's expensive too.
It's expensive, yeah.
And then you can't, like, piloted reamers, like the ones that have the pilot to do a kingpin properly, they don't really make anymore.
No,
So you can't
so,
even get it new. Anything new? Oh, the best off-road rugged
Model
antique car
T.
is a Model T Ford,
Yeah.
without question. They are and even Ford with its buggy spring, where it has a single spring in the front, and the way the frames are made, those cars can flex and do what they need to do. There's nothing as stout as a Model T.
Yeah, and it's really neat. In Alberta, where we're from, there's a series of books of kind of like early motoring in Alberta, and
that's
it's
cool.
If anybody's like a quadder or something, is less than quad trails. These guys are going down and getting pulled out with horses, and then trying to be the first guy to get to Jasper, to Vancouver, and
well, that was
incredible.
I think the first car to go through that was an Overland, which is Ford based in a lot of ways. But yeah, like I think a Model T Ford is the most. If you want to get into pre-war cars and you want a completely different experience than any car, the Model T Ford is your best bet. You can pick them up relatively inexpensively. They're fairly easy to maintain, or there's lots of people that know how to fix them, or we can fix them, or whatever.
And parts availability is incredible.
They have never not made parts for a Model T Ford,
right?
Since 1927, when they quit making them. So that's. And then you can get all these sweet accessories and speed equipment. And
turn it into a tractor if you wanted to.
Like four-wheel drive kit. You get a snowmobile kit. You can do everything to a Model T. So that's where I'm at Model T Ford, because they're like a Chev 490 and all that stuff is probably just as rugged, but I've just never been around them as much. And the Ford used such high-quality materials. They use vanadium steel and everything. And Ford was just a very simple, effective car.
Yeah.
Who's Scott?
Oh, Scott
Newstead? Oh.
Jig's up.
Jig is up.
I mean, Scott Cold War Motors.
Yeah. Hey, he knows about Model T Fords.
Yeah.
He actually, that's one of the cars we located, was that Model T Ford, and then several of the parts and stuff. So it's good to see him motoring around happily.
Oh, it's very cool to see that.
He'll be one to attest to the ruggedness of a T Model Ford for sure.
Yeah.
Dream car? What's the most ideal dream car? That probably changes daily.
Yeah, I know. I just keep chasing it. At first it was a Mark II, Mark 1.
K model.
Now K model, so I'll just be pushing it out. But
I don't know.
It should be what you have, realistically.
A person should be happy with what they have. My favorite cars, we don't show any of them on here, but my favorite cars, like, I mean, the style of car, are like Survivor hot rods and Survivor customs from the 40s and 50s. Cars that were built by somebody back then that have stayed unchanged today. I
Yeah.
love that because that's one of a kind, one of one. I mean, you talk about one of one bodies with coach built cars, yes, but they're restored or they're whatever, like preservation cars, original paint cars.
Or
I
cars
would
with a
love-
story.
Yeah, the story is the key. I'd love to have a Duesenberg one day, but that probably will never happen. But I think the story of the Duesenberg brothers is what makes me love the Duesenberg, because the Duesenberg's a chassis, and then whatever coach builder you wanted to build your body would build the body.
Yeah.
So there's that end of the spectrum, and then there's like I'd like to have a brass T one day, and motorcycles.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
who wouldn't want to
motorcycles.
have a 36 knucklehead or you know
Indian 4.
Indian 4 or an Ace
Yeah. So.
or Henderson? So I mean. And tractors, like I love.
Oh,
so
see,
you get
yeah.
into this, not into airplanes so much. I mean, it's nice to look at.
Yeah, I try to be pretty ground based here.
Yeah, when you break down with a car, you just kind of pull off on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Kind of like that aspect of it.
And after Matt's ladder thing,
Yeah.
anything high, I wouldn't be flying. I'd be
Any-
having about 6 feet off the ground.
Wright Brothers style.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the I think it's whatever car you're around, and then like I said, unrestored examples or original examples or really well concourse restored examples, like with the right hose clamps and tires. I've looked at 1969 Camaros at car shows that are completely restored with all the right hose clamps and stuff, and I can appreciate that just as much as you could appreciate any other car that's been restored, because that takes a level of commitment, the next step. And I love that
For
stuff.
sure. Anything with low is just
Yeah,
fascinating.
yeah, to me, that's
'cause
amazing.
It's just
original paint.
incredible. Yes.
And not like 2 little flakes of original paint, like
Yeah.
you know, nice original paint. That's anything that you can't recreate,
Yeah.
you know, or it would be 1 in a million. You know, that's what I like. Original paint motorcycles, stuff like that,
Oh,
or
yeah.
old repaints, like a bike from the mid 30s that was painted in 1940, and just the way it is. I know it's not original paint, but that's close enough for me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, thanks, Wolfgang.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Appreciate that. That goes
Yeah.
a long way. Like I said, we're trying to grow the channel in a way that's we don't want to grow it like where we can't sustain it. I want to just incrementally grow it, kind of tailor it to what people like, and our little niche is where we're going to kind of stay our lane, because I don't know, there's
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
doing it. I don't like to say that usually, but it's one of those things where we're trying to recreate. It's like a historical reenactment of mechanic work or whatever.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's just sitting.
But
here
yeah,
getting
it's sitting
cold.
here
You want
getting
some more?
very cold. But actually, it's not that bad.
Okay, we can top up our mugs here. Maybe we should whip up another pot.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how long we're gonna go for.
No, just keep going as long as. Is there a few people watching?
But people are enjoying this.
Oh,
That's great.
wonderful.
Wow, that's
Oh,
great.
Sweet.
Yeah,
302
like
people,
talking to an
yeah.
auditorium.
Right?
Yeah, thank you. Willie Fix It.
Willie Fix
What's
It,
the
that's
daily
cool.
driver? Cassie drives me around daily in her truck.
Well, yeah, you got your daily driver.
Yeah, right here.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on the season, but in the summertime, I usually drive around a 1966 Ford F100 that I've had since high school, and we painted it about 2014. Actually, Scott, we did it was getting rusty, so I found these really cool wheels from the mid 60s and kind of restored it. And it's actually I picked Cassie up on, was it? I picked you up on the first date with that thing? Yeah, I picked her up on the first date with that, so it's been hanging around a while. So I drive that in the summer mostly, and then I've got like a Dodge diesel, like a second gen Dodge diesel. Like
Yeah.
can't get enough of those. Yeah, I've been driving those
Second-gen
forever. Yeah,
Dodge
yeah,
diesel is
second
a
gens.
daily driver, and then summertime, yeah, it's whatever old car is running and has gas in it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. From our
So-
house to the shop, it's about 20 miles.
Yeah.
So I mean, try to drive old stuff, but as far as daily driver is concerned, yeah, I used to daily drive old cars, and now with the family and stuff like that, I don't know.
Not as fun being on the side of the
No.
road.
That's the same as any of that stuff. I just like to have things that sort of run. They could be older. We don't have new cars at all, but I'm talking about a new truck from 2001 here. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right? Well, that was only 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh shoot,
Yeah.
Cassie's 98 restored. Anything else? The next improvement on the shop next. I'd like to
Ooh.
finish the office upstairs, in the kitchen.
Oh yeah. Not a microwave, but maybe something to
Hot
heat
plate,
food
something. Yeah,
would be a big improvement.
we've got this
and,
old 1930s farmhouse kitchen we rescued that we got to finish and plumb in. That'd be nice.
yeah, get a sink in
Finish the
there, and
office.
so-
We started slowly building a like an upstairs mezzanine museum thing, so maybe that one day will be finished.
Yeah, and then
Improvements would be just get some of these tools.
leg
we're
work,
gonna-
get all our machine tools.
Oh, we got a
all
lot of
in a
that to do.
row, so
Yeah,
that's
so we
kinda-
got to underneath the mezzanine at the back of the shop is going to be the machine shop. So we've got to take everything that's out of there out, clean it all, and put all the machine tools in there, get them set up, get them working. I'm hoping to do that in the next few weeks, but we'll see. This really puts a hinder in the program.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
can't do
gonna-
nothing more than officiate.
Yeah, for all the heavy lifting, it's been pretty convenient.
It has.
Yeah.
For me, anyways. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were picking up that shaper, I thought about getting
Pretending.
one of those fancy boots.
Falling off a ladder.
Oh, thanks, Mike.
Oh, thank you
20
very much.
bucks.
$20. Wow, that's the very kind.
Yeah,
Like I said, we're reinvesting all that money, trying back into the channel. We want to buy some better microphones, maybe, and
oh yeah, yeah. No, that's kind of the frustrating part of
Oh.
YouTube is I don't know. It's fun working all this old stuff, and then you get to like the technology, and I'm sure anybody who was waiting for our live stream, we were also waiting for it. And
Yeah.
we go to turn it on, and
we don't know.
we don't know. So we're not as computer savvy, and
Yeah, we're trying to meld like 100 years of technology together here, and we know more about one than the other. Guess which one?
Yeah.
It depends on the job and what kind of work, or how long is our wait list to get in. It depends on the job and what kind of work.
Yeah,
And-
exactly.
And
so.
it can be, if it's a quick job in and out, like a week or two, or if it's like a long job, it's in like 2-3 months maybe.
Yeah.
Depends.
Oh yeah.
We try to stay fairly nimble that way, where we can take a few smaller jobs in, kind of offset some of the longer, because sometimes waiting for parts, or
Oh yeah,
puts
that's
a
just the
hitch.
nature of the beast. Is sometimes parts are so far out, and
then just sometimes getting your head around like a job. Sometimes you gotta, not so much the standard mechanic stuff like on a T or a Model A, but any of that more exotic stuff that we've done where you're trying to save something or stuff. You don't want to jump in right away. You gotta think about it for a minute or two and kind of make sure all your tools are sorted. And
yeah,
especially now, that's what we've been doing, is trying to sort the tools, getting them to work as good as they can. We rebuilt. My dad did the lathe. They rebuilt the apron and did a whole bunch of work on it. Made new half nut, and fixed this. Just make it so it's super accurate, and then 'cause otherwise you can't do
usable.
anything.
Yeah, because that's the one important thing is
it's cool to
of
use old
all
tools. They
other
got to work.
important things. But yeah, no, if they're tedious to use, like it's like an old car too, whereas like
Mhm.
if it drives poor, if it's not reliable, you just won't use it.
That's
And
right.
So it's kind of like a mindset to get in. Is like
Yeah.
if you can make this stuff as good as it was or it can be.
Well, Jim has a good way of putting it all the time. Like an antique car, for example. Any car.
Yeah.
If you have a vehicle that you can loan somebody without having to tell them, well, you got to wiggle this and jiggle that and don't touch this switch and do
Yeah.
that. And,
Well, why'd you turn the lights on? Of
Yeah.
course, it's gonna cook that wire.
yeah. So that, if you can get to that point where I'm at a point in my life now where I like to refine things. So I used to break down on the side of the road all the time with different old cars because the gas tank was plugged up or the radiator was no good or whatever. You just, I'm driving old cars. Like, I like them to just work.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind working on them. Like, they all have their quirks and they need maintenance, but it sucks being broke down on the side of the road all the
it's
time
no
now.
fun. I remember I was a wedding car, and I had a suit on, and same
wedding.
thing, gummed up fuel line, and so then I stripped down to. I had coveralls, but I had to peel the suit off. I was there shirtless, and coveralls on, laying underneath, blowing on this fuel line, and show up
Looking
stinking
like a
old
hero, eh?
gas, looking
Yep.
like a hero. Yeah.
Our wedding, remember? I had a flat toe. Buddy's Model A broke down. I had to flat toe it back to the wedding venue with my Model A. Here on our way back from pictures, and anyways, it was funny. Suit, same thing. Didn't have no coveralls though. Just me and
Oh.
Cassie in the freaking wedding car. Flat toe it back. Another Model A broke down. Oh well, par for the course.
Yeah.
We
Tractors.
do work on tractors. Do we work on tractors? We will try to work on tractors when they come in, but I would like to. We've got a few to fix, but
Yeah.
trying to think which. Oh yeah, we go to the tractor shows, and we're pretty big proponents of the hobby as far as antique equipment is concerned. Or
Oh yeah.
we don't really
Crawlers,
show it on here, but I
Caterpillars,
really
and-
love antique construction equipment. That's one of my major. As much as I love old cars, like old cats and stuff, so we're pretty big involved in that aspect of the hobby as well, and pretty big in anything involved in trying to showcase something to the public. And this is again where we get to a point where I get angry because
Well,
when
here's
we
your
try to do,
disclaimer.
I need to say, that's my opinion again. But when we go to put on a a demonstration, whether that's antique road building with antique equipment from the 20s, 30s, 40s,
Yeah.
whatever year you want,
Threshing
diesel stuff,
outfits.
threshing, plowing.
Yeah.
I like to have everything look like it would have done in the day. So yeah, you dress the part, that's one thing, but also that the equipment works not flawlessly, because there's always going to be something, but it should work like it's meant to. I cannot stand when you go to do a demonstration like that and everything's broke down all the time and belts are flying off and stuff's going wrong and things are breaking, and because that's not the way it would have been then, because you would have been skidded immediately. You'd have
Oh,
never
yeah.
made those jobs. I like to go and try to show exactly how it would have been as close as we can get it.
Yeah.
And that's production. Like go out and actually do this much work and try to
Yeah, that
push
is another
yourself.
grievance that we have, is a lot of them, you go to these things and the demos are 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
So when we do it, we try to do like a full day's work or 2 days work, and
yeah,
it's
which is
fun.
quite hard to
It's hard
recruit
work.
volunteers
Yeah.
for just
You want to come work
you want to
harder
work
than
like a dog for free with old stuff
for 2 days.
for 2 days.
Way
yeah.
harder than you've ever worked before.
Yeah.
To get nothing done because it's just
Yeah,
a
right.
demonstration. You got to
Yeah.
put it all the way up. So yeah, no, we like that stuff. Antique
It's
cats for
fun,
sure.
so.
The cat will be 100 years old in 2025 too, so we hopefully can get a few things going for that. That'd be nice.
Ooh.
Brian, do we
Brian.
take safety seriously at the
Yes,
shop?
the only
of course.
unsafe thing happened at
At
Matt's
home.
house. Yeah.
No, we do take safety
We
seriously.
have to, yeah.
Of course. Safety never takes a
yeah,
holiday.
exactly.
That's right, Cassie.
I
So,
mean, yeah.
no, safety is a huge concern. Not so much so that we sit in a bubble and sit around and look at the work we have to do, but everything is safe. We do here. We don't.
Yeah, and that's kind of the nice thing with the proper tools, is that
it's safe.
it's safe. Yeah, because
Yeah.
this stuff's all designed. You're not trying to press something with a bunch of
Yes,
stuff
I'll
stacked
never do
up,
that.
and
Yeah.
because he only got 2 eyes, 10
2 legs.
fingers, yeah, 2 legs. So
So that's a serious thing, and like we
and kind of with the self-employed thing, unfortunately, if we do
you don't get
squash yourself, then you just gotta
you just get squeezed out of the way, and the other
then you
guy
just
keeps
squash.
working. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else, Cass? How we met again?
how we
For the
met.
new folks, me and Jim met through Scott at Cold War Motors,
Yeah,
and it was before. Well, Cold War Motors was the thing, but it was before Scott's worldwide success.
yeah. Before he was,
I met Scott. Like I said, I met Scott because I grew up about a half a mile from where he bought that house, and into old cars and whatever.
yeah, and I met Scott through my old boss, and yeah, and
Yeah.
then Scott had it's his weekly jam, and I think
yeah,
probably
Jim's
through there, yeah,
Twanging away there, yeah. So
yeah.
it's been a few years. I've known Jim probably close to 10 years.
Yeah, it's gonna be something like that. So yeah, but not brothers. And
No, we're not
yeah,
related. Yeah, no. And safety never
Yeah.
takes a holiday.
No, yeah, shake hands. Watch Shake Hands with
What's that?
Danger.
Oh, where are we in Canada?
Ah,
We're north of Montana
yes.
in
So-
Bruderheim, Alberta, which is a tiny town about 30 miles from Edmonton, which is the capital of Alberta.
Yeah, if people are familiar with the Edmonton Oilers. That's
Yeah, the hockey team, the Edmonton Oilers, they
yeah.
play hockey 30 miles from here.
What else we got in Edmonton? A big mall. It used to be the biggest.
Yeah, it's
but,
not anymore.
Not no more. And
I guess that's
I
it, eh?
think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fort McMurray
Used to
oil.
be Canada's oil capital, they used to call it Edmonton.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the oil industry, and so that's the thing too. You're kind of from where you are,
Yeah.
so that's
And it is a neat thing about where
I love
we're
it.
from, is that it's such a weird resource-rich place. There's lots of neat cars here,
There
which
is.
is super cool.
Yeah.
Like to be a car guy around here is pretty fascinating. Like
yeah, and all kinds. Guys that are into Franklins and early cars, and then guys that are into brand new McLarens and Ferraris. So it's like the total spectrum. Oh, are we going to run a line shaft here? That's my favorite question. Maybe. I would
Right?
love to. I've been collecting the pulleys and stuff for forever. As long as I've been collecting the tools, it's just getting the time again. Like we got to make a living, so you can't. I would love to just shut everything down and spend 3 months building a perfect line shaft, and firing back up again. But right now, we just can't afford it. But we have all of our tools that are designed to run on line shaft. Will hopefully one day run again on the line shaft. And I would love to power it with a Model T Ford power unit.
Oh, that would just be wonderful. Yeah.
Originally, I had thought a 15-horse Fairbanks Morse engine, like out of a grain elevator, because I love those too. But the Model T would be neat, because it's a Model T.
Yeah.
So, yes, hopefully one day, line shaft.
Yeah, you got to keep watching.
Yeah, keep
For the
watching for
next
20
couple of
years.
Yeah.
Anything else, Cass? 320?
Wow,
Wow, that's
wonderful.
cool.
Yeah, thanks for you guys
Thanks for
taking
tuning in.
time out of your busy
Yeah.
evening. I know
I don't know how long we're going to go, but it's been going pretty good.
Yeah.
You want a live tour?
Well,
Somebody
mini
wants a
tour.
live tour? Oh,
Well,
Judas. I never thought about how we do that. We kind
I
of
don't
got it
know.
all affixed here.
Yeah, might be better saved for a future video just with Matt's
Why don't we do that?
lack of mobility.
Yeah. We'll do a tour of the shop incrementally, hidden in every video, so you have to watch all.
You just send out little decoder keys and you 3D glasses. You
Those
can
little
see
rings, those special
Yes.
rings like in the cereal box,
that.
like the mood ring.
Yeah.
How many cars do we each have, Susan?
Wow, Susan, that's quite
Susan.
the question. I really.
I don't have very many. Jim's got a lot.
Oh,
We got a few. don't have a lot.
Matt's got a few cars.
What do we got, Cass? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 or 6.
In your shed.
Oh yeah, all together.
Okay,
I think,
yeah.
7, 8. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I think I've got 10 cars insured and registered, and then projects on top of that. So, yeah, maybe 15, 20 cars.
That's a few.
Yeah, no, it's a few. So,
Now we've got. I'm just trying to think. I got a few projects, but I got my Model A that I've had forever. We've got 36, the 39,
36.
34, the other 36, Cassie's Olds, my 66,
the yellow doodle bug,
the Doodlebug, the shop truck.
shop
Okay,
truck.
we got a few, maybe 7 or 8, maybe 10. I don't know. Too many.
Yeah.
Too many. I mean, really. And like I have 3 kids now, so it's different now. We used to go out in the garage and just work all the time, work at work all the time, go work on cars all the time, just lived and breathed cars. It's not that I don't love cars, but I find it gets tedious where I enjoy other things like spending time with my family or even just going and touring around, getting on an old motorcycle or something, just going for a ride for the day or going here, you have to enjoy, at least in my opinion, I think the hobby is enjoyed best with others. Like I'll put it this way: if you have a friend that has 20 old cars, and nobody else that you hang around with has old cars, I would rather have 20 friends that have one old car that run and drive, so you can all go together.
Yeah,
it's just
it's super fun with more people,
it's
and
so
that's
much
kind
fun.
of yeah.
So that's what we're a big proponent of. That's what the Model T races are about. That's what when I go to a car show, I figure if you have cars that no one else will have, and it's not that they won't have them, it's just that they don't get brought out very often. I'm talking 20s and 30s stuff. 40 stuff to the car show, the cruise nights, all that stuff. I think it's your duty to go out to those once in a while and show people the cars. Talk. Are we live?
Oh,
Hang on.
something's wrong.
It says we're live. Oh, we're live.
Well, maybe it'll take a bit to come back.
Go stand over there and see.
Hello. You can hear. I'm back. Hello.
Can you hear us?
Put some sound on, Cassie.
We lost our microphones.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good. We just had a small technical glitch, and I don't know. We believe it or not, just filmed with telephones, as most people do, and so had a small charging glitch with our microphones and all that.
on there?
But yeah, as long as you can hear us decent enough, that was kind of a
Sorry about that. I
was being
rambled. The internet cut me off.
yeah, right.
I forgot where I was. That's okay. It's probably best unsaid. Huh? Oh, that squirrel.
Yeah, we'd like to report the squirrel is alive and well.
Somewhere alive and well.
Yeah, we what was it? We thought we got it out of the shop,
That's right.
and then we had the old fuel tank from that that Model A.
Well, but it was a T tank.
Oh, T tank, yes. And so I went to put it beside the shop. I heard this scruffling in it, and yeah, the little bugger he stayed in the tank for a bit, and then he's moved on to hopefully greener pastures.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. That silly squirrel. Anything new?
Yeah, thanks for bearing with us.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks.
Yeah.
We really don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think the best thing, what I was saying, just getting back to that museum thing, museums are fine, but I think these things need to be enjoyed, and that's where the enjoyment comes from driving them, and being around them and sharing them to the community. Because if you put up a facade like it's so precious and rare that you can't do anything with it and whatever, that's going to put that out in the world too. And so I think it's nice to get people in there, because the antique car hobby has been fading fast.
Oh, and that's the thing that we always talk about is that like these cars, kind of restored cars or whatever, guys that have them, they.
No, because we're just talking on the phone now.
We can bring it closer.
Oh, I guess bring
Here,
it
I got legs.
closer then.
Here, you want to just.
I just keep nabbering.
Yeah, keep.
Keeping it.
Okay.
Holy crow, we're on the close-up.
Oh no, yeah. We'll see how good makeup was.
Oh, I don't know what agent number I am. I don't think I was ever on the show. Only hauling things here and there.
Oh,
Are
okay.
you a known number?
Yeah, 223.
Oh, okay. Ford 6-cylinder.
Yeah, Ford 6-cylinder.
Can you hear us now?
Is it slightly better? Hopefully not worse.
We're a lot
It'll
closer.
be-
We're using 3D
Yeah, the 3D view.
3D vision here.
But no, like I was saying, I can
Got
remember it.
derailed.
Derailed yet again. Oh, these I don't know at all. I'll have to sit down and rewatch it to see what was going on. But people have
You know, I
questions.
completely forgot too, because I was
Yeah.
so brain dead when we lost our telephone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's on the tip.
It's right there.
Right
eh?
brain
Yeah,
here.
it'll come. It'll come.
Yeah.
Just give it time.
It's the hobby.
We were talking about hobby cars. Oh, the fact that it's dying away.
Oh yeah. Is that, so then these old cars, like 20s cars and all that, the last person that remembers like seeing these cars driven on the streets like regularly, not in parades.
It's been dead for 30 years.
Yes, is long time gone.
Yeah.
And so like people are getting so far removed, like kids nowadays, like you see them in a museum, maybe in a parade, like even in parades this stuff is really fading away.
So that's where that comes to. When you have a car that you remember in your youth, like people restore now cars they remember from the 70s and 80s and stuff they wanted when they were young. That's how this stuff was. That somebody born in 1925 in the 1950s or 60s would have remembered their dad driving a Model T, and it's a romantic.
Yes,
It's a-
they remember the sights, the smells.
Yeah,
the-
same as tractors and motorcycles. It's all that romantic tie.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember seeing Model Ts driving around the road regularly.
Oh yeah.
It's just, it's something that you like. So that's another different aspect of the hobby is restoring it because of your memory, because something you want to regain, maybe some youth enjoyment that you had as a kid, or where you just like it for who knows what.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Why do you just do it?
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Where'd our lady go?
Uh-oh.
Cassie.
Well, I know she
Just flew the coop.
flew the coop. Yeah, she's had enough of our.
That's enough
info.
nattering about it. Is there any?
I'll take a look and see what we got for questions here. Oh, perfect. There we
Are you
go.
live?
Somewhat, yeah.
Is that live?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
It
It's
says,
live.
Well, we don't want to hear ourselves.
Yeah, turn it on.
I think the chat's like.
Oh, there's Cassie.
Yeah.
Anything? Any questions? I don't know how to fill dead air.
Yeah. Well, there's
Somebody
Matt,
ask a question.
can you please tell us about your Maroon Lincoln?
Oh, no. It's
Your
not a
top
Lincoln.
secret
Okay,
Maroon.
Matt, tell us about your Maroon Lincoln. It's
Yeah.
not a Lincoln.
Yeah.
It's a 39 Ford. And it's one of those cars I mentioned earlier that was built in 1951 by a man who was 22 that became a mentor to me and Cassie and a real good friend who passed away. It was Duke Foster. I will do a proper video on that car because there's a whole bunch of history and pictures that go with it and I don't want to, but it's a 39 Ford Coupe that was built in 1951
Yeah.
and
In
it's
Edmonton.
in Edmonton, and it's a local, like, never, yeah. Duke owned that
Such a
car
cool
for
car.
70 years and then we got it from him, so yeah, it's a Ford.
Yeah. So stay tuned.
Stay
for,
tuned. We gotta do some work to it, so transmission leaks,
Yeah. Little leak.
big puddle. But yeah, so that 39 Ford, that's the best, my favorite car I have, just because of the story. And all
Such a
that
cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Really custom.
like the picture. Yeah, we'll do a thing because like I got the whole history of the car from day one till we got it.
Yeah. Till day now.
Till day now, yeah, sitting in the garage in the cold, not the cold. Just
Yeah.
sitting in the garage.
Let's see here. Oh, so I seem to be getting the feed here. Maybe I'll see what other
Your
questions
feed?
are coming in. Yes. There we go. Yeah, yeah. It's pretty impressive. I didn't hear it. Uh-oh. My neighbor. Oh, polonium plugs.
Polonium spark plugs.
Were they or not?
Oh, it's just a gimmick from the polonium spark plug was a total gimmick. They look cool.
Yeah.
They look cool. It's I think I was reading that the half-life on the actual plutonium that was in was gone by the time they left the parts counter. So I think like
Not too
everything
much
else, like
going on,
we've
yeah.
got some plugs here, high speed and gas saving and every other thing, and you know it's all just
Yeah.
fooey. There's some interesting spark plugs in the world though. That's the
Oh,
whole
yes.
thing, the spark plug collections. A person isn't able to collect everything. See, this is the thing I think is important too in the hobby is that one person or two people or three people or a group can't know or collect everything. But with a community, you can have the spark plug guy and this guy, and when they all get together, they have everything. And
Yes.
that's a true car community. And I know a little bit about all that stuff, but really, it's a lifetime.
Oh, it is.
It's like
yeah.
collecting
And that is
stamps,
one of the
you know?
reasons why we don't do like a how-to
Yeah.
expert video is like, you know what, there are guys that know exactly, they'll put in an hour program on a
Real-
spark plug or,
yeah.
yeah.
And so, because I've always been interested in early Fords, so Model Ts, Model As, and early V8s, that's where the kind of my knowledge comes from. But then also being around other old 20s cars and 30s cars, you learn that too. So I know lots about early Fords, so that's kind of that was the main focus for myself, even as a collector or whatever you want to call it, car enthusiast.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the idiosyncrasies between Canadian and US, and then March, April, May, June, July,
Yeah.
you know, the little things difference between 33 and 34 and 35 and 36 Ford where there's lots of big differences, but then there's all the minute differences that make the car what it is, you know.
Yeah. And it is cool, we get a kick out of showing all, well, Americans and everybody else around the world, the Canadian only stuff that we got here.
Which I
which
think is cool.
It's super neat. Like,
Yeah, Robertson screws.
Right?
Model T or
Yeah. Oh yeah, well, Mercury trucks,
Yeah.
like all the.
Yeah, we got the Chevy Pontiacs. So the Pontiac platform in Canada was nothing more than a rebadged Chevy, whereas in the United States, the Pontiac was a long wheelbase car like a Buick.
Yeah.
So your Buick Gold's Pontiac in the United States is just Buick Gold's here.
Yeah, which is neat. And Fargo trucks,
Fargo,
Dodges,
yeah,
and
yeah,
so
yeah.
no, it's a neat little sliver.
The sliver of Canadiana, the
Yeah.
Acadian.
The Acadian, yes.
Yeah.
More,
Any other questions there, guys? Tell Al to protect his Granada. I'll tell him. I'll make sure
Okay,
to pass
yeah.
it on to Al.
yeah, we'll let Al know
Yeah,
that.
we'll
give
give
him
him
a one on the other
'cause
side.
that is a nice car. You gave me a ride in it the other day, and you know,
Yeah, it's pretty. Turned out pretty slick.
pretty slick machine.
Yeah. Oh, reproductions of the tools.
That's funny.
Yes, that is.
Have we
funny.
considered making reproductions of our favorite tool? We are in R&D right now.
Yes.
That's all I'll say. But yes, we're
Yes.
in some R&D right now.
Yeah, yeah, because some of these tools they're just so handy for.
And they've been
Do what you gotta
they're
do.
so rare to get, or they're crazy expensive because they're collectible because of what they are.
Yeah, and if there's a nice version of it, like really, realistically, if it's got like the water slide decals on it and beautiful original paint, like it would be a shame to use
Yeah,
it all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, to keep those in. So yeah, so like a garage-based kind of
We've
replica.
been working on a couple
Yeah,
of ideas, kicking them around. So stay tuned for that too, as well as our
Yeah.
Strong's Garage coffee that we hope to unveil here in the next 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, we're hoping in the new year, and perhaps even T-shirts if we can get.
Well,
it,
yeah. We'll see.
in a row.
But there you go. You can get yourself some Strong's Garage roast. That's what goes in the cups. Anything else? Are you
Everybody's,
twiddling away on us?
yeah,
Or just me?
heard what they needed to hear.
Huh? Least favorite jobs?
favorite jobs.
What's
Oh.
least favorite job?
Ball joints.
Yeah, that's a modern problem. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, ball joints stink.
Yeah.
And probably,
Uh,
I just like anything modern, like
yeah.
60s and 70s, because it's so much more complicated than it needs to be. Power steering.
Yeah.
You never have to worry about that. We don't even,
Yeah.
My dad was here fixing a vehicle the other day. We don't even have power steering fluid here right now because not a thing here has power steering.
Yeah.
gauge battery cables we recommend on 6 volt? Well, 6 volt's interesting because 6 volt is high amps.
Yeah, twice the amp.
Twice the wire. So usually we run like a aught or double aught. Like
Yeah.
a welding
You
cable.
buy it as a welding cable.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's with generally it's 1 or 2 gauges. I think it's 2 gauges up from where you'd be for 12 volt.
Yeah, and so that's another thing that we're quite proponents of is that like 6 volt.
Nothing wrong with 6
Yes,
volt.
there's nothing wrong with 6 volt. Like
I'll argue that till I'm blue in the face.
yeah. If you have a starter that has good bushings and not dragging and proper cables
And the generator
it'll just-
charges
and
the
a good
lights
battery,
then-
it'll crank till the cows come home. Like that's the amazing part with 6
Well,
volt.
that 53 Monarch that I drove all the time was 6 volt. My 48 Ford Coupe that I had as a daily driver for years was 6 volt, and I never had issue. And that was summer, winter, whatever.
Yeah, they drove them back then. Is the,
And I love, now it's just being a weirdo, but I love the sound of a 6 volt starter, the glow of 6 volt headlights and dash lights. You can't, I guess you could. You could put a resistor at your starter and a resistor at your dash lights to get it to glow like 6 volt. But really, if it was 6 volt, there's no, you don't need, here's my opinion coming again. When people switch to 12 volt because they say 6 volts junk, it's because they, and I've seen this before with people that I know, not Jim, I'm not pointing at Jim.
I did that on my work truck.
They go around and they take everybody else's crappy 6 volt stuff that's wore out and put it on their car and wonder why it's junk. That's not the case. If you have a perfect working 6 volt system, it worked when those cars were new, and they saw way more severe service than you're ever going to get driving a cruise night.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's just cool because you got the big wires and like I said, the glow of the lights, everything about a 6 volt thing. And if you're going like when I build a car, if it's period perfect, if you're trying to evoke a feel like that 39 Ford Coupe that I have that we got from Duke, it's 12 volt now. His buddies convinced him to change it over to 12 volt. I'm gonna put that sucker back to 6 volt because I think it's important to me to have that car back to how it was in 1951. And that's the same reason when we got it, we took the disc brakes off the front and put 40 Ford brakes back on the front. Because I think it's all part of that time machine thing that I've talked about where you create vehicles. Well, this is kind of a time machine here, but a vehicle or somebody's restored home or something, that's the true time travel. If you go to a small town, like if you go to a town by your area, there's going to be one business in one of those towns that's a time warp.
Yeah.
And that's the only way we can time travel so far.
Yeah, so far.
So far. But it's, but it's one of those things where 6 volt works good. I am a proponent for 6 volts. If it was 6 volt, the same way I say bias ply tires. If it was bias ply tires, and that's just my opinion again.
Yeah.
Disclaimer.
That I do, yes. I run a very small scale farm with basically equipment that was left to die on the fence row. And
What I was just talking about with the 6 volt equipment.
yeah, right. So no, it's
That's fine.
good because it makes it's a little 40-acre operation and it turns it into a
Summer long job.
Yeah, summer long job with So no, I love that. My grandpa was a farmer and we'd always be out there and just love that stuff. And so it's kind of just I worked on a farm and I don't know, I just find it peaceful and it's neat. You plant a field, it rains, things grow. Yeah, you hope.
Yeah.
And no, it's just kind of fun and relaxing. Yeah, it's one of those things. If you're into it, you're into it. And,
Well, I know, like everything that goes with it. So we've gotten a grain cleaner that we've restored now,
yeah.
and we got a grain grinder.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and so you start to get all the little things, and then we got all these stationary engines that do jobs now. So it's fun to collect, to have old stuff, but it's even funner, in my opinion, if you have a reason. That's the same way these old tools work, because we use them, right?
Matt and Cassie have horses, and so we mess around with doing a little hay. And we got stationary engines on a bale elevator, and so
it's fun. And so you have a collectible that you use that justifies its operation, and then you keep it in working order because you use it for something. And so I love that. Like to find a use for it, it gives you a good excuse to keep it going and to procure it.
good homes for it because it's not current enough that any modern person would use it. But you can buy it for less than scrap price. And put it to work.
Well, the weather here is starting
Warm
to
today.
improve. Yeah. What is it, minus 15?
Yeah.
It was minus 40, which is the same Fahrenheit as Celsius for about 3 or 4 days in a row, and that was a rough go.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal with these
Especially with these little pigs they got going around here. It's slippery and
glare ice, cold. Yeah,
But it's starting to warm up.
Dodge diesel trucks with
With meager heat.
meager heat, but
We
we
got
got
through it.
by, survived.
No, we survived. Anything interesting, guys? steam. I love.
Steam
We've been
yes.
trying to procure the steam tractor for a few years. It's been sitting. A friend of ours has. It's a Sawyer Massey, which was made in Canada, and it's that's the next frontier as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, that would.
We
just
got an
be
old sawmill
wonderful.
that we kind of fixed up, and a threshing machine, and a gas tractor. But steam would be the next level.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
It's something that I've always had a passion for, but I've just never been around it enough. I mean, I've been around it at shows and guys that I know have steam tractors, but to get your hands dirty, other than making pins and bushings, the actual running it, because that's the thing. If you have a true operator running something, it looks easy.
Oh, for
There's
sure.
all these little things that would have came up when you worked a piece of equipment, like a steam tractor. Like when you fire a steam tractor, like you throw the coal or wood or whatever you're burning to fire it. There was a whole thing about how you never open the firebox door when it's facing towards. If it's windy, you never open it into the wind because you could crack the smoke box door, but wind going through, like all these old time steam tractor stories that you read about from 1915 or
Oh,
1920.
yeah.
And everybody that worked with them, like my grandfather worked on a threshing crew apparently back in the day, and everybody that would have worked on that to make a living, they've been dead for many years too. So it's hard. You can't get it from the source. You're getting it from a third party sometimes or a fourth party.
Right? Yeah.
And that's a different dynamic. So to see a true expert, like all those threshing reunions that they used to have, they still have them.
Yeah.
But all the ones when they were a true union. So you had
Yeah, it
in
was
the
a reunion of
1960s,
actual threshermen.
guys that did it, they get together and they just show you how it's done. That I love. Because that's a true expert. An expert in any field is fun to watch.
Yes.
It's a virtuoso, whether it's mechanical or anything. It's watching somebody do something they're really good at. You can't help but take your eyes off. You
Yeah.
can't take your eyes off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, steam.
Steam is a go. If you can get steam off the go.
Yeah.
There's so many regulations and rules around steam though. There's a lot of,
Yeah.
but rightly
It's
so.
spooky. If you don't know what you're doing, you
Rightly
can
so.
really,
Yeah, you can really hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Or others, which is a
Oh,
problem.
yeah.
Jim, how did you find your Lincolns? How long were you working?
How did I find my Lincolns? Just through sheer luck, basically.
Lucky
because
did
it was it was
Like a shiny penny.
one of those things that you never think that you'd find. So you don't set out and just like look every day for it because it's such kind of a foreign thing. And so the Mark II, the 56, it actually came up on our local. It was Kijiji, but it's like Craigslist down there.
Yeah.
And like probably 200 miles from here, and I was like, no way, what?
Yeah.
And so went down, made a deal,
We were on
brought
the way
it
home
back,
from
and
the Lethbridge swap meet there.
Lethbridge swap meet. Yeah, we were on the way from the swap meet. I was like, oh man, this is so cool. And so went and looked at it, and I knew it was in fairly top shape, but
Huh.
yeah,
It's not that bad.
no, and it's not
In the
that
grand
bad.
scheme,
In the
it's
grand
not that
scheme,
bad. And,
So,
and they only made a few. See, this is
Oh,
the
yes.
thing, when you're dealing with cars where the perfect examples are quite expensive, you can't help but start with, if you want it yourself, you need to start
Yeah.
with a base car.
And which I find
But it
really
had all its
interesting
windows.
is that, so basically, if you can get a car with all the parts, the trim, that's the hard stuff to find. Like the
Yeah.
sheet metal, you can learn to fix, and it's all the same sheet metal. But yeah, to try and cast emblems or find emblems for a car, in the case of that Mark I, where they made 400 of them, it'd be hard pressed.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
it.
that one, same thing. I'd scrolling Instagram of all things, and it came up for sale, and I was like, no way. And it just
Yeah. Just meant to be though, because it kind of was in the right place at the right time.
Right
was
place,
able to
right
make it
time,
happen.
and so
What's that? Giggling over there.
How long till the boot comes off?
Mike?
yeah.
Oh.
How long till the boot comes off?
I got probably 2-3 weeks. Who's Mike? Who's Matt? Anyway, I got 2 or 3 weeks left on the boot. I'm
Yeah.
hoping. I got a doctor's appointment on the 12th of January here, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Things are looking good.
Any longer, you just get them to saw it off.
Yeah, that's it.
Get a peg.
Just get that or a nice old antique wooden wheelchair with those big wheels in the front. Kathy. Yeah, other than that, I don't know. We have kind of a, like I said about the channel, we just want to kind of grow it in a viable way that doesn't make it not fun to do. And looking for content, like I said, is not a true trouble for us right now because we do have lots of regular work to do, and there's some interesting cars, and I know there's lots of channels out there that kind of focus on certain things, which is I watch them, and we just want to try and do our part for what's missing.
Yeah.
What's that?
Sorry, Matt.
Oh, that's okay.
Ah.
Roberto. Just give me a hard time.
Oh.
But it's funny.
No, it's good. We read all your guys' comments
Yeah.
and
Yeah, most that like the subscribers and the people that like the videos, it's nice because it makes it worth doing. You know.
oh, for sure. And so yeah, just kind of keeping it true to what we do with
It's all
keeping
we
it
can do.
interesting to you as well. And
That's all we can do.
that's
Really, at the
all
end
we
of the
can
day,
do. Yeah, at the end of the day.
I'm not an actor. You know, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I won't put that. I don't like that.
I don't know.
Those
that
channels.
vibe,
Well,
yes.
just those. You see those YouTube shows where they make it out like it's scripted for crying out loud. Like, come on, I know this. You know, you see the guy's got this whole thing. You know, everything's laid. You know, it's just what it is. So
Oh,
that's
yeah. Sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes it's easy, but it's not.
yeah. So the best part for us is getting stuff that people didn't know existed. Or I like reading those comments where we have a tool that they have and they didn't know what it was and now they do. And I don't know. I think that's
Yeah.
cool. You know. I think that's the best.
Oh yes. Is
We want
winding down at this point? Is there a few people still watching or?
250?
Oh, perfect. Well, we'll keep going as long as you guys
Yeah,
keep,
for now, anyways.
get us going.
Yeah. Okay, should whip up another.
Oh, and then we got some coffee, eh?
Have you had any issues with poor quality reproduction parts?
Have we had any issues with poor quality reproduction parts? Yes.
Yes, often.
Often, yeah. And a lot of times it's insane because they're not cheap.
Oh no, they're not giving that stuff away. Those patch panels.
Well, that's one thing for sure. That's so we had a 56 Ford pickup truck box. We built the box and then I fixed the fenders and he had supplied one piece to fix it, but it was so different that I ended up just making both pieces that we needed. But
Yeah, and it is frustrating to see because if you're a hobbyist, and I was there back when I was
that's right.
like just working out of my garage, like that's like making something yourself is so foreign. So you buy the piece, and it's just you might as well not because then you're trying to make things that don't line up.
Yeah, and never right.
And so
It'll never be right.
it is a wonderful
Yeah.
thing with YouTube now that you can watch these metal
And learn,
shaping
yeah.
channels and learn and
Yeah.
see. And so
But even with reproduction parts like modern, that's why I try to use like new old reproduction stock, like NORS stuff, or new old replacement stock rather, and NOS, like new old stock stuff, because that stuff fits perfect. Kingpins,
oh yeah,
tie rod ends, that stuff doesn't go bad, right?
Yeah.
So that's fun, and it's not every car you can do that with, but when you can, you try to use what you can. But that's a finite resource these days too.
Oh yes.
You know?
And that's a funny thing Matt always says about these NOS parts that hang around. The reason they're still here is because nobody used them in 100 years,
Yeah,
and
that's
you
right.
won't in another 100
Yeah,
years.
most of the reproduction
Really?
most of the original parts, NOS parts that are left, are so weird and so for funny, like standard size engine bearings. There's boxes of those everywhere, but most crankshafts got to be turned 10, 20, 30. Well, those bearings are all used, you
Oh
know.
yes.
So a lot of the stuff that you get all excited, oh NOS, it's like, well, yeah, but it's not really gonna work,
Yeah.
because it's the wrong.
Yeah, or it's an exhaust manifold.
Oh, yeah, it's
flange
something
that-
silly that
Yeah,
you never
it'll
lose,
never
yeah,
lose or
yeah.
never break.
And that's
so-
why, that's why it's still on the shelf after 75 or 100 years, right?
Yeah.
Like this, for example.
Ah.
This is a new old stock with the Ford tag, 40 Ford, in the paint,
Yeah.
rose gold paint, shift lever, you know, like for your 3-speed column shift. But how often would you need that if you were restoring a car? It probably has one.
Oh, for sure.
And then you just, I guess if you had a worn ball or something, but yeah, so that's something that's been on the shelf because, well,
Yeah,
nobody
the
needed it.
dealership in the 50s.
It's
and
cool,
yeah.
but it's, you know, it looks good sitting here too.
Quite neat, yeah. People ask-
Danny's Escruzy is only 5 months away.
That's right.
That is true, and yeah, we kind of always joke about these winter projects, and you kind of build yourself up. Oh, I'm gonna get this done, gonna get that done over winter, and
And then
so
spring comes, you throw everything together. and-
yeah, we've hit our milestone of the new year, and yeah, 5 months away, and I've had a few things that I haven't even started taking
Probably 6
apart.
or 7 months away. Yeah. That's the long and short of it, really.
Yeah.
I think too, a person, because it's different. Because if you're doing it for a business, you have to have a deadline and urgency to do it. But if you're doing it as a hobby, it's so hard to make, like, put it, for example, if a job takes us 100 hours to do, and that's 8 to 10 hours a day for a week. If you're a hobbyist at home and you work on your car 1 hour a week, that's 100 weeks.
Yes.
And that's 100 productive weeks where you're not finding your tool again, and you're not. So that's why stuff takes so long. And I did it at home. You'd have stuff apart for years because you just, it's
Yeah.
a 40-hour job, but you only find 10 minutes at a time.
Oh yeah, right.
And so you never want to get down on yourself for taking too long to do things.
Yeah, exactly. Because this
It
stuff
takes
just
hours.
takes time.
It's all hours.
And at the end of the day, you've got to look at it. It's a hobby, and you need to enjoy it.
Yes,
So yeah.
yes. And that's the thing. So if we do something and it's quick at the shop, it's because that's what we do for a living. And
Yeah.
we can do it like fast and with a reasonable amount of time with the right tool, or where it's we can almost go on the flat rate books for the stuff we do for most of these Model Ts, A's, and V8s if it's not completely rusted and broken. But even then, there's only so many hours a job can take. Even if we have to remake a piece on a lathe or something.
Yeah.
So with the business side of it, it's different. So the hobby side, I get that things take time, and that's fine. I used to get bent out of shape, but I didn't get cars done in a reasonable time. Like at home, you're working on stuff all the time. I had cars sit in my yard for 2 years, never got time to get after them. So it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
Bye, Brian, the old league guy who's gotta go. Thanks for the lunch.
Brian,
Oh, Brian.
Thanks for tuning
yeah,
in, bud.
See you later.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Lasting this long.
yeah, that's a long time. These guys just going on about
Yeah.
nothing.
Oh,
Can't
okay.
say we're gonna lose
Yeah.
our
Who do you recommend for reproduction parts in Canada?
what kind of parts?
Oh no, who do we recommend
Oh,
in Canada
who?
for reproduction parts?
But it depends what kind of parts.
Yeah, it all depends what
What
you're
kind of
into.
cars and what you're looking for. I don't. We're starting to get to be able to sell Ford stuff, reproduction, early Ford, TA and V8. We can get it in. We're getting our little business set up that way, but as far as I think Scott Super Trucks can get you pickup Chevy truck parts and GMC truck parts, and my old boss, Custom King, I think he can get lots of 57 Chevy parts and Camaro parts and every other thing.
Just old Ford parts.
Old Ford?
Old
We
Ford.
can get lots of that.
Yeah.
Us. Strong's Garage will try us
Yeah,
today.
I'd recommend
Yeah.
Strong's Garage. Yeah.
Yeah.
How you guys met again?
Oh, one more time how we met. We
Yeah.
met through Scott at Coldwater Motors
Yeah.
about
All
10 years
people.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up beside Scott. Jim met him through a deal on a car,
Yeah.
and then the rest is sort of history. Jim went engineering, and I went like automotive restoration, and then Jim's come over to automotive restoration. Saw the light
Yeah,
finally
right,
after
yeah.
2 years in the office.
Oh, maybe you'll shift over to
Maybe I'll go to engineering.
engineering with
Yeah.
that foot there.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
switch. I did the same thing. I thought about doing that too because I was okay at math, and I don't know what happened. Just the way things work,
Yeah.
I don't like I was around antique cars, but not a lot, And then it just became like a passion, I guess, like everything else. When you really love something, it's easy to learn because you
Yeah.
don't mind reading about it.
And I was just always into old
Right.
cars, and then kind of through life circumstances, figured you really got to enjoy what you do, because
That's right. Yeah.
yeah, if you're not really happy working your 9 to 5 or whatever, do something else.
That's right. Yeah, you're in control of that completely.
Yeah.
Chuck from Kentucky says, what's the reason for positive ground?
Chuck from Kentucky.
The
Positive
reason
ground.
for positive ground.
Oh,
Electron flow, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposedly something to
Do
do
they
with
flow better one way than the other?
Yeah, it
Upstream?
won't arc or it won't do something. So
Yeah.
I'm a kind of non-electrical engineer.
But
So
there's
I
a
can't,
system. There's a reason for that.
yeah, there was a good reason for that, and then they switched over because I think as the electron theory went on,
They thought
there
differently.
wasn't such a thing.
Yeah.
Because it is, or I think it actually does happen. Because coils do have polarity, and you'll watch where it'll jump from
Yeah.
one way to the other.
You
so,
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Folks walking by here,
Yeah.
taking a wave. How you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Starting to lose our people. I imagine we're just bumbling here. 230.
that's still
Oh my
enough
goodness,
people.
like a Chevy 6-cylinder.
Yeah.
Ratings from Regina.
Oh,
Regina.
Regina.
Yeah. That's
Cool.
that's a place in Saskatchewan for sure.
Yeah. no,
Where our friends are from.
Oh, it is neat to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool to see where people are from.
People,
Sure.
yeah, all around the world. That's kind of a kick we get out of like the YouTube thing has like a little analytics thing, and you can see where people view.
That's
and
cool.
It's super neat to
Yeah.
kind of know
Our
that-
little like our town is like this, eh? And so to see people, And it's cool. Like I did some traveling at some point, and we've all gone places. But the amount of people from all over the world that we bring, like you wouldn't be able to come here generally because you can't travel this far to see this. So to show what we've created here is a big part of why we do the YouTube channel, because I think we put so much time and effort into it. I think it'd be fun to just share it more.
Yeah,
than
we'll let
anything.
you go to Hawaii somewhere warm for your vacation, and then you don't have to come up to British.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, save the trip. Yeah,
Yeah.
save the airfare.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. But no, it's fun. You know, the YouTube is cool when you get comments like that, or people from the other side of the world, or
Yes.
whatever.
Oh, it's super interesting.
humbling. You know, really.
It is, yeah.
It's humbling. I know most of the people that I've met in the old car hobby, locally or all over the place, it's generally the love of the car, no matter what. Like
It is
true
a neat
enthusiast.
common
Yeah.
thread, because you can, sitting on a plane or whatever, and just kind of within a couple sentences of talking about cars, you can instantly just kind of like vibe with somebody.
Me and Cassie were on holidays one time, and I think I was wearing like a Hearst shirt. Remember that guy? You guys like, hey, you're into old cars? Remember that? And we were, I met this guy, I was wearing a shirt, and then we started chatting, and the whole week we were at this place there. He kept BSing, and he gave me his old Hot Rod magazine or whatever. But it's just one of those things where cars bring people from all walks of life together. Like you could have a guy who has $500 million in the bank, and a guy who has negative 500,000 in the bank.
Yeah.
And they could stand there and look at a car and talk to each other like peers.
Oh,
which
it's
I think
the
is
neatest thing,
it's
because
the level playing
even
field.
with people like we know, you have kind of like the meekest, mildest people, and then just real gruff, tough customers, and just common love of cars, and it just brings people together.
Enthusiasts.
So.
And it's the same with anybody, like cars, yes, motorcycles, yes, but it's a different dynamic when you get into true hobbyists and then passerbys. So true hobbyists, or true enthusiasts rather, are willing to share, I feel. I think they like the fact that other people, that you put so much effort into a car or something, you bring it to a car show and they like to talk to people, and I think that's important too. And then there's the guy that just has an old car because it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other side of the hobby. Like, when I was younger, I loved old cars, but I didn't necessarily like car shows. In fact, I hated them because I thought they were a waste of time. But then as you get older, you realize, like, no, that's what's important. That's how you get the public. Because the public, without, like, if you just stick to your friends all the time or car clubs and don't ever get the public involved, it'll never grow, and the hobby will eventually.
Well, yeah, because that is the issue.
It's
Is that the
happening
hobby
now.
is shrinking. It's not maintaining a steady keel. So we can do whatever we can to
We try and grow it.
help grow it and just keep it alive.
And that's, I think, what we're at because of the cars, like the Model Ts and the A's and the V8s and stuff. It's such a different way of mechanicking, because this style of mechanicking had gone out by the 1950s, like with kingpins and all that kind of stuff. Or pickup trucks, I guess, still has kingpins in the 90s. But the old ways are the only ways with these old cars. So with the tools and stuff that we bring to it, I don't know, it just gives it a different dynamic. Then a shop that's full of brand new modern tools working on old cars. I think that's what we tried to create, is like the atmosphere, and that was on purpose and by accident. That everything just kind of happened the way it did. Like I said earlier, because the shop was so run down in such bad shape, we created a romantic version of what.
Oh yeah,
could be.
through old literature.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff, like in the showroom here that we have, I've got these old service bulletins from the 1920s, like Ford service bulletins, and there's pictures of dealerships, and they show all the signs and stuff. So it's not that I'm a sign collector, but you go out, you find this stuff, and you try and recreate, you evoke the feel of what it is. Same with the lighting, like we got old lights. Yeah, it's just all part of the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a big part of it too, to create a work environment to which I wanted to work in.
Well, right. Yeah,
And that's the key, like you have to like what you do.
Yeah.
And our shop here is exactly where I would have wanted to work my whole life. Like I could die, like you could work here till you're 100 years old. It doesn't feel like work. To me, going to work in this shop is like a holiday. I love it because you like your work, you know. And especially the shop, because it, like I said, when you close the door here, it's like time stands still. It's whatever day of the week you want it to be, whatever time of the day.
Yeah, right? Just looking through some of these comments here. Let's see here. What's this? I follow Culver Motors Curiosity Inc.
Oh, Alex.
Yeah, Alex's last video was making a cheese ball. I hope you guys aren't going to make cheese balls when you're slow on content.
I wish we could get that to that point where we just cheese balls.
Making a cheese ball.
They
Yeah,
are
I
cheese
just stuck
balls.
these cheese balls. That's actually a funny story too. Alex kind of gave us our start.
Yeah, he gave us the first big shout out, and Cassie, it's funny enough, my wife was Alex's very first customer when he started his antique store, Curiosity Inc. In Edmonton. It was Alex is a marketing genius, and what he did was he created this buzz about his antique store, and I even found myself, this place is opening, this is gonna be so cool, oh wow! And we got to know him really good after that, and he's been a friend, and
Such a nice guy.
and he's helped us with the shelving, and anyway, so any fan of his can be a fan of ours, and we appreciate his generosity with this. And the same as Scott, he did a lot of shout-outs for us and helped us. A lot of you folks probably came over from Cold War Motors, and I'd like to think we gained one or two on our own. I don't know.
Hopefully.
But you know, the channel grows. As it grows, it's wonderful because we share. It makes me excited to make more videos, and Jim is the same way. We start thinking a little bit about, hey, we should make a video on this or on that, and we kind of are starting to plan, not content per se, but kind of an order of the way things work, like in the shop, where we can take a day and we can take a day to try and do. The bigger the channel gets, the more time we can spend on it, basically what I'm saying. So it's been growing. I appreciate everybody sharing it, subscribing, because that helps. All you gotta do is subscribe and it helps. You know, so thanks for everybody that did that.
Yeah.
You know, it's growing. I can't believe it. I'm so happy.
It's incredible. Yeah, 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah, we're almost
Amazing.
10,500. It's amazing, and I hope it just continues on. I don't want to get. I don't think it'll ever get that big. Don't worry about it. I'll cross it as we get there. I'm gonna go live. These are just 20 minutes of that.
No, it just offered it something.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah, see?
Oh, okay.
There we go. Well,
We're
good. It is a small community even on the chat here. It seems
Oh,
like
it's so little. Yeah.
yeah, people are talking where they are.
Yeah, that's great. And like I said, to bring people together that like this, and I gotta also thank people that have taken the time to mail us stuff, because we've gotten some really cool stuff in the mail that we have here, and some of it we actually use often. We got that wiring diagram book, and people that just send a letter. We've got postcards and stuff, and that is,
Yeah,
I mean, that's
postcard
really
for
cool.
New Zealand of all
Yeah,
places.
that was
probably
awesome.
opposite end of the world.
I would think it's
Yeah,
probably
we got it
the.
loaded here.
Do we have any tires from Model Ts?
Take a look here. Where do you guys get your new tires for antique cars?
Well, we get our tires from Coker Tire like everybody else. We were trying to become a Coker Tire dealer, and I would love to become a Coker Tire dealer, but it just hasn't worked out.
Yeah, it's been tough, and I'm sure you guys are trying to find tires this past couple of years with supply chain stuff.
It's been tough.
Yeah, they haven't had the supplies to make regular tires, so antique stuff kind of got kicked down the line. But it seems like things
It's coming
are
back around.
coming back around.
Thankfully. I mean, it's amazing you can still get tires for stuff that was like, I was working on one antique motorcycle that had clincher tires, like old style tires, and the clincher tire on the motorcycle went out of vogue in like 1930. So it's amazing that you can even still get a new tire at all.
Oh yeah,
It was hard to get. I had to buy
quite
it.
thankful for it because I mean they must sell compared
Well,
to passenger cars.
Those motorcycles got parked in the late 1930s because you couldn't get tires for them anymore. I mean, really, clincher tire bikes.
Yeah.
Pat's Old Indian got parked there because they couldn't get tires anymore.
Yeah.
So thankfully we're not at that point yet.
Yeah.
Or you're converted to a drop center and then it's not quite correct.
Yeah, not the same. Yeah, we'll try and keep up with the questions
It's
here.
hard to keep up with the questions, folks.
Yeah. There it is.
You see us looking at the phone.
Yeah, right. Top of our heads there, yeah.
Hey, we should have stuff on top here.
How often do you think you will do reboring and rebuilding of engines in upcoming shows?
Well, I don't know how many times we'll film reboring and rebuilding engines, but we got 2 or 3 back there to do now. I guess we could film it.
Oh yeah, well I think the next step is working with Babbitt stuff and probably make a
Yeah, we'll do a video on Babbitt bearings.
yeah.
With
They
our
are
front
very
bearings.
interesting.
Yeah.
And,
Try and use them with a combination machine to build a Model T engine.
yeah. Oh,
Oh, that's that rumbly ear is my wife's Dodge diesel there, idly. She's been kind enough to come help us out here and just warm it up. Hopefully it doesn't affect you too bad, but that is a nice smell.
oh, it's beautiful.
If you haven't experienced that, diesel on a cold day, it's roses. There's certain
Oh, it
type.
is, yeah. With a certain nose.
Yeah, that's right. Can't think of anything else to cover.
We're here from Cranbrook.
Well, thanks again. Like I said, here we are just mumbling.
Yeah, rambling on.
Huh? It's just about 7, so we've done almost 2 hours. So we'll go till 7, hey? 7?
Yeah, we'll probably go until 7, so if anybody's got
Any questions?
any
Or you
last
wanna-
minute questions.
We'll pass the proverbial hat around if anybody wants to fill it.
Yeah, right.
It does cost money to do this. Like, it takes time and money, and everybody that supports it on Patreon,
That's
we're
awesome.
very thankful for them, because because we gotta, we gotta take time off work, and I'm not minding it, it's fun, but it does cost money.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Rock on the wall, bang,
Yeah, that sounds like
just ask. 6:59. So if anybody has any last minute questions, they can put them in there, but we're probably gonna hang it up here in the next couple of minutes.
yeah.
And I appreciate everybody who hung out with us.
Yeah, 2 hours of your
I've
time.
never
That's
done this
great.
before, so hopefully we've covered a few bases that you've been intrigued with.
Yeah.
Merry
yeah.
Christmas, everybody, and
Oh,
yeah,
James Almond. Wow, thank
thanks.
you. Oh, yeah, that's wonderful.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, all we can do is try, and that's what we've done with this channel.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And I think people are receptive.
Yeah, there's a good appetite for it, so.
We'll just keep doing them and growing them. I wonder if anybody had any input of what they'd like to see on the show. I've heard reboring and leading, but there's got to be. I know we've kind of alluded to a shop truck project. I don't know how many people would enjoy seeing a shop truck project.
Yeah.
I think what we want to do is finish that 1931 Chevy as far as we're going to take it and find it a new home. And we sold the 48 Chevy,
Yeah.
so that's found a new home. But the 31 Chevy, we just don't have the time, and I think we could put our shop truck right where that baby's sitting.
Well, that'd be great.
Maybe you guys will get a kick out of that shop truck, because it is cool. At least I think it's cool.
Perfect. Even more, this was great. Wow, what a
Yeah.
wonderful night.
Yeah, well, thanks everybody for
wonderful.
tuning
Yeah,
in.
thank you guys so
And,
much.
like I said, if there's anything, you want to reach out to us, we've got Strong's Garage at shaw.ca, send an email.
Yeah, I think it's in the description of most of the videos.
It should be,
so,
yeah. We have a Patreon page, and if you have any, I don't know, like I said, we do all kinds of stuff. So if you need any consulting or cars found or stuff, we do lots of that stuff. We found everything from Ferraris to Fords.
Yeah, Ferraris to Fords, so
We kind of do that.
some things in between.
Yeah. So hope everybody had fun, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Now get that Continental on the road. Yeah,
But
well,
you've
that
heard it
sounds
here,
good.
folks. Yeah.
Oh, Jim, are you gonna bring back the hair and stash from years past?
All years gone by, Jim.
Maybe.
There you go.
I wonder sometimes. So
Yeah, a little fuzzy.
Yeah,
Fuzzy
right.
face.
It was a lot warmer back then. So. The weather keeps getting colder. I have to.
Yeah, yeah. But,
Yeah.
okay, well, again, like I said, thanks folks for tuning in, and thanks for everybody that hung around, and thanks to Cassie for helping us out with the questions and everything.
And
Making sure, and sorry about the delay where we killed our phone, and
Oh yeah, missed the first one.
oh my goodness, I'm telling you what. But maybe the next time we do this a year or two from now, we'll be better at it.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, keep watching the channel. Next week we'll have a video hopefully, and oh no, I guess maybe we'll be able to do a video next week. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's this week.
This week, yeah. This week is next week now, so
This
see
week
what
is
we
me,
do.
next
Yeah.
week.
Cool. Make your videos longer. Yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten that before, make your videos longer, and I appreciate that, but the reason we don't make them extremely long is because of the editing time. And it's just the way the job goes. It's just, we make them as long as the job kind of entails without being too, I understand, and
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
I appreciate
sure.
that you want them longer and not shorter.
Yeah,
Don't get me
right.
wrong, but make your videos shorter. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be better. But no, we just kind of, it is just the way it is right now, and it just for lack of, because our upload speeds and everything takes a long time, the bigger the video is, so we just try to keep it to that, just so we can.
And this
keep
keeps
it
it
all-
fun for us and not
Yeah,
too much
'cause
like a
otherwise
job.
it's a full-time job.
It
We
doesn't
don't
pay
pay
any
money,
money,
so it can't be a full-time job,
Yeah.
yeah, otherwise.
Wonderful.
So, anyways, again, thanks for watching. Stay tuned to the channel. All the best in the new year, and
Yeah.
keep them coming.
Yeah. Keep rolling them out.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right, well, shut her down.
Perfect.
See you guys later.
See you guys.
How do you end it? Oh, it's on that phone. I was like, why aren't you ending it?